shit, I'm gonna call it like it is. How you gonna be a man and we starving? Go ahead. You know? And you can walk by 5 different houses, ain't a man in either one of them motherfuckers. How we gonna be a man? How we gonna be African Americans? And we out here done. We done, and we niggas until we set this shit right. Trust me when I tell you that shit.
Certified Black Society, certified salute. What it is, what it do, man. Welcome to the Black Alpha Network Certified Live. Y'all already know how we do. Trust and believe. Today, we going all the way in. It's about to be full speed, no strings attached, no fucks given. We're going to let everybody know what time it is. What time is that? That is FBA time. The whole world's moving on FBA time. We're moving on FBA time, and they got to love it. That's what it do. There's been a whole lot going on, and y'all know what I'm talking about. There's been a whole lot of ops, a lot of funny-ass people, and, you know, everybody seems to always have a bone to pick with FBA. We over here in our own lane, doing our own thing, making money, trying to get to it, and everybody always pops up out of somewhere. You got ops that come at you through the front door, through the back door, through the screen, through the goddamn attic, the basement. Everywhere you look, there's a new op, and everybody always has a problem with us. But y'all know, and anybody who's familiar with the Black Alpha Network, Certified Black Society, y'all know I don't really do ops too well. I'm not really the kind to sit back and just let that shit go on. I'm not really the type to see people throw our lineage under the bus, disrespect our ancestors, no matter where you're from. Oh, by the way, speaking of where you're from, can y'all let everybody know in the chat where you're from? Can we do the FBA roll call, Certified Black? I am broadcasting from the great state of Georgia, but I do have my NY hat on because my wife is from Brooklyn. Salute, Queen Alpha. But at the end of the day, I want y'all to tell me where you at, where you repping, rep it to the fullest. Throw your FBA flags high in the sky, because if everybody else gonna do that, then we gonna do the same thing. And like we do it better. So with the ops coming out here, and we don't really play them, there's been a lot going on. There's been a lot of people talking down on us. And anytime somebody talks down on us, we got to handle them. That's what it is. We throw them on the corner like it's trash day. Well, ladies and gentlemen, today is trash day. And we got a couple people out there. We got some Kubas and we got some Crispies. And we just got some folks that are going to have to catch that FBA work. And you know, nobody does it better than us to the fullest. Now, with that said, I have one of our certified sisters right here on the panel, and there was an interview that happened the other day, and our certified sister was there. We spoke about it, and there's a guy running around here named Dr. Kuba Vasquez, and he always has something to say about foundational Black Americans. And one of our sisters was on the panel, and he was talking reckless, and she was catching all the cap that he was saying, all the lies, all the bullshit. But what we're going to do, we're going to further expose the bullshit. We're going to further put them receipts on the table. So everybody, Certified Black Society, y'all give a good Black Alpha welcome to our sister, Miss Giselle. How are you doing? You muted right now, sister. Just letting you know.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. I'm good. Chilling. Trying to get relaxed.
Yeah. Ain't nothing to it. Appreciate you coming through. You know, I reached out to you because I saw that interview, and it was a good interview. And it was the first time that Dr. Kuba Vasquez tried to come on over to the new Black media world. But, you know, it's a little different over here on the Black Alpha Network. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't really hold back. Anybody's familiar with me, y'all know I do not promote cursing. I encourage it. I do not promote regulating. I encourage it. I do not promote out the FBA compound. I encourage it. And we're going to do that today, and we're going to do it with real style. So I appreciate you coming through. So I definitely want to hear your perspective. And I want to definitely break down that whole little fiasco of this guy running around here throwing our lineage on the bus, especially when his paperwork is dirty. You know, it's funny that I'm out here talking about throwing people on the corner like it's trash day when this man got dirty paperwork. So I want to break down this guy. There's another crispy dude, real crispy, you know what I mean? And he came around and he was trying to run a whole lot of, you know, infiltration. And shout out to everybody who pulled into the space. That mega space is sitting at about 7.5 thousand in over a weekend. So salute to all my brothers and sisters. A lot of the brothers and sisters that are listening right now came through. And, you know, you were there as well, Brother Marcel. Our brother Afro Elite was in there. Our brother Beatzilla. A lot of people was in there. But, you know, this crispy dude, he was lurking around. Oh, and salute to my brother Sage. My brother Sage was in there too, and he was holding it down big time. Right. You know, so, yeah, you know, this little crispy character, he kind of pulled up, and we want to break down how these ops operate and we want to tell everybody how you handle them, how you identify them, how you spot them, how you frame them, and then basically how you cancel them and get their ass out the paint. So we're going to break down them today. We're going to regulate, and like we always do on the Black Alpha Network, we're going to have a good ass time when we do it. Certified salute to everybody. Sister Mr. Zay, I want you to answer this question for me, if you may. When you look at somebody like I call him Dr. Kuba Vasquez, if you're not familiar. I know my certified Black Society, my certified 100, I know y'all familiar with it. Okay, that's when somebody, got Cuban descent, but they running around here acting like they from Philly. Yeah, you from Philly, Havana. Okay, there must be a village in Cuba somewhere. But what were some of the things that popped out to you during that interview that went on, some of the negative energy? Because I noticed dude was flip-flopping. He was not answering questions, but when it got to lineage and it got to reparations, that set him off. He got triggered and he went off the deep end. What were some of the things you noticed that was kind of funny style, my sister?
With me, I just felt like he kind of pivoted to more the talking points that did not align with the truth. I want to say it that way. Especially when it comes to our music. And I get the whole, he's Pan-African. So I get it. He's looking at the whole Black collective. I don't knock the man for that. But I do knock when you purposely put out lies. Everyone knows Kool Herc is not the king of or the creator of hip hop. That is not the case. This has been debunked. You could go on YouTube, Twitter, any platform. You could go to New York and find some locals who were there and they'll tell you where hip hop came from. Even brothers from Philly know where hip hop started. And to really keep it a buck, hip hop started on the plantation here in America. On this soil. So all of the techniques that we did, it was all our response. That's why our music period is our response to our experience here. So how can you sit there and say our experience was created somewhere else? It's impossible.
Facts. A lot of brothers and sisters, I think, went to the stage, and I want to ask you if you agree. All that caping and just disrespect of our ancestors, it's pretty insulting, ain't it? It's very disrespectful at this point.
Right. It is. And we got to get to the point where when people say that, we just cut them off. But you have to be armed with the facts. That's why I say we have an order of operations in our reparations movement. Education, then you're going to delineate automatically because you know why. You know the why. You understand why we're doing what we do. Delineation is next, and then you get activated. And activation is beyond the internet. Activation is hitting the streets and making things happen, whether it's local or on a federal level.
Big facts, absolutely. And I always tell people this as well. Well, when it comes to this reparations movement, down here in the South, we call it the dog days of summer. Like right now it's July. And we are in the middle of the summer. Like this is when it's the most, hot, is the sun's at its peak, and it's just really going down. And that's what's really happening with the reparations movement. We've seen the opposition come from everywhere. And I like how you said you got to be educated with the facts. Once you're educated with the facts, you can identify who needs to be here, who don't need to be here, and you can really regulate. One thing I'll add to that, and I will tell this to everybody, and everyone knows I always say this, you got to be aggressive. Ain't nobody ever got money being passive, being docile. As a matter of fact, a lot of Black folks practice being docile and being very, relaxed and chill and not motivated. People practice that for 400 years. And now this generation is cleaning that up, and we sweeping that out the house, and we bringing in new energy. So that's one of the things that I definitely love. So when you have passion and you mix it with aggression and you got the FBA soul, you get things done. So in terms of us getting things done, let's get right to it. I want to break it down. I want to show everybody what it's like when you start dealing with these reparations ops or just any op in general. One of the ops right here that I'm going to reference is Mr. Kuba Vasquez. I want to break down how in this interview, he says a bunch of lies. I'm not even going to give it the credit of saying it's a misnomer or a myth. It's straight up bullshit. You ever have somebody come to you and they just pull a lie out their motherfucking pocket and they just throw that shit right at you like you didn't know they was lying? This is what happens with this guy. So he says that Africans were in the Civil War. He says that there was a whole gang of Africans here before 1965. That was all debunked. Anytime someone challenged him, he would go off the rails, like you challenged some sister as well as our brother Marcel. But I want to play this beginning clip of when the conversation started to turn and when it really started to get on the actual reparations. Because mind you, you start talking about supremacy, he'll say some things you agree with. You start talking about, just Black folks having some type of, power, he'll say some things you agree with. But when you start talking lineage, or even when you start talking gender, he'll start turning this shit upside down. So you see where it's at. And one of the things I said in the space that we had the other day, and salute to our sister D Tubman. Y'all support our sister D Tubman, man. Much love and respect to you, my sister.
Yes.
She posted it, man. That's an amazing sister right there. I said on the space that I'm not really concerned with how much he care about white supremacy. Nigga, how you care about us? That's where I'm at with it. Somebody could come around all day long and be like, white supremacy, white supremacy, white supremacy, and then turn around and stab FBA in the back. I got a problem with that. You know what I'm saying? If you're here to dismantle the system of supremacy, but you're not about foundational Black American empowerment, I'm going to draw a wedge down in the middle, and I'm going to send your ass that away. So this is where I stand with these type of individuals, including Dr. Kuba Vasquez. FBA empowerment brings down white supremacy. You can't have an issue with white supremacy, but still hate on foundational Black American empowerment. That is a contradiction. That is an oxymoron. And when we see it, we regulate it. So I'm going to play this clip starting off, and then I'll let you go ahead, sister, and comment, and then we'll break this down, how to identify reparations ops, lineage ops, and ops of all shapes and sizes.
Reparations is not just for us. It's for all African people who have ever lived and who will ever live in this country.
So do you still feel that reparations in America is for all African people?
Well, for me, coming from a Pan-Africanist standpoint, and I offer no apologies, just as I've said in my message in Jamaica, just as I said in my message in Guadeloupe, just as I said in my message in Ethiopia, just as I said in my message in South Africa, and just as I'll say in my message this weekend in Barbados and next week in the U.S. Virgin Islands, there was one slavery that took African people from one continent and scattered us all around the world. And because there was one slavery, there should be one organized reparations movement. And even if Negroes are still in love with being separate from one another instead of operating as a single race, we should still at least collaborate and communicate with each other so that the white power structures of the world who we're going to for these reparations cannot play the divide and conquer, separate and rule tactic, because there's no collaboration amongst the figures and no collaboration amongst the demands. So for me, I will never agree with any of the movements until we have one organized global reparations movement. I think that would be the most effective and it would be most comprehensive. But to your point, as it relates to the American African situation, the truth of the matter is African people from the Caribbean contributed to the greatness of America.
Oh, hold up. Wait a minute. Let's put some certified in it. Man, that was about 30 seconds of bullshit off rip. That's what he said. He got going, didn't he? That man went full goddamn coon. All right. I'm gonna make a statement. If you tell me anything you picked up on, sister, anybody in the chat, anything y'all picked up on, please let me know. All right, let me say this. First off, you notice how the man first. I ain't gonna be too many of your Negroes. That is. It's only when he starts talking about us. Has anybody out there ever heard him refer to anyone in the diaspora as a Negro? I've heard him say thirsty Negro, begging Negro, but he only says that when he's talking about foundational Black Americans. He never says that. Now, mind you, we ain't out here begging the colonizer. We're not out here asking for money. We're not out here doing any of that. But he always references us in that fashion. So it lets you know how he truly feels about you. How someone refers to you tells you exactly how they identify you. That's one. So he says the Negro thing all the time when he talks to us. Second, he says he'll never support anybody who does not believe that we just one big African. So if we don't believe that we all just one big African and we got to get a check and it's got to go to everybody, he says that he don't rock with you. This is what this man said. This is his receipt. We putting it on the table. I didn't make this up. That's not AI. That ain't no clone. That's Dr. Kuba Vasquez. He said he don't rock with you if you ain't full African, only African. So basically what he's saying is that he don't rock with lineage. He only rocks with Pan-Africanism. So if you really look at it, don't he basically say that he's not down with our reparations movement or our lineage movement? How do you feel about that, sister, and anything else that you may have caught?
I feel like how he's speaking, again, from the Pan-African and the collective, he's basically saying we need this one movement. But if you're going to say that, we need you to first go after Cobra, who excluded the Black American, the foundational Black American, freedman, Negro, whatever you want to call us, that lineage bloodline, they excluded us. And they said, oh, well, this is only for the islanders. He didn't go at Grenada, who has received what they are accepting as reparations from the Europeans who enslaved them in their country. So if you're not going after them saying, hey, you need to share them resources that you got with all of us who were enslaved over here, then do not come after us and tell us to do the same thing. And at that point, we can absolutely agree to disagree. It doesn't matter if the lineage doesn't align. You are not included. Period. And that's what I get. I feel like when he was coming at us, like even when he was talking about One Black Africa, they have a whole reparations thing here in Baltimore. In April, they held what was called the State of the Black World. And at this particular event, every single nation stood up and talked about their people positively. Instead, we had the head of the Congressional Black Caucus, the president of the Congressional Black Caucus of Baltimore, who is a Haitian man, who stood on the panel and made jokes about, he actually made jokes about Jim Crow. And we checked him for that. Like as soon as he was walking off that stage, our brother, DP the cable guy, if y'all in the DMV and you need some low voltage assistance, that brother will hook you up, along with other things, installations and things like that. But real talk, he absolutely like disrespected us on that level and disregarded everything that we're doing. We have to build us up. I think in every group, it doesn't make sense for us to fix everybody else's house up, but disregard our own house. It does not make sense.
Absolutely. You notice that, the reparations platform, the policies of reparations, it's already been laid out. Like they're trying to get us, well, he and others, they always try to get us to do some fantasy land stuff. And let me say this, and I've been saying this before, and I'll say it again 1,000,000 times. I know where Disneyland is. It's in California, it's in Orlando. I don't know what Pan-Africanism is. So it's sad that I can go find Disneyland before I can find Pan-African. That's a sad motherfucking day. The only thing I know for sure is that foundational Black Americans, we are a lineage, a heritage, and a culture, and it's undeniable. And I remember that little Pan-African reparations meeting they had. I actually did a show about it. I think I talked to you about it on a space, if I'm not mistaken, sister. And they was fighting, and it was messy. I remember a dude went up there and sang a damn Rasta song. This man went up there and did a damn Rasta song. These people ain't about no reparations. What they're about is what everyone else is about, and that's following the leader. You see foundational Black Americans move, then you want to move. You ain't moving until you see us move, but ain't that the way of the world? That's just how the world's always been, and that's how it's always operated. When was that? Was that at the tail end of last year, or was that the beginning of this year?
I think a lot of that was earlier this year, when we were doing the OMB stuff, and then a lot of people were going out doing the testimonies for California Task Force. It's a lot, but you know what? I look at all of our people, just the fact that they're actually like our people, the ones that are us. They're actually showing up to these spaces. We got to remember the trauma levels. Everybody got their own level of trauma. So certain people, I'm like, I'm going to disregard this part, but I'm gonna take that part, because I know, like, if I'm here and I found some level of sanity, and you got all of this going on over there, and you were able to find that level of sanity, I think we can have some, like, at certain points, I give our people grace, but other times I'm like, nope, we got to cut people off when they get to a certain point where it's just disrespectful and it's counterproductive to what we're trying to do in our movement.
Absolutely.
Yep.
You know what to say, man. There's a thin line between somebody who is having a difference of opinion opposed to somebody who has a difference of, passion. I always say we can disagree, we can't disconnect. Right. And a lot of times people who really are disconnected, they proclaim, and they profess to actually just have a disagreement. In reality, they're just disconnected from us. Hiding behind, that's my ideology, is the biggest lie, crock of shit that we could find. You know what I mean? Where, okay, Pan-Africanism is your ideology, but if that ideology gets in the way of my lineage, see, we're talking about a lineage versus an ideology. A motherfucker can think that they're anything. You know what I'm saying? I don't give a damn if you think you got damn Looney Tunes. That's what you think. Foundational Black American is what I am. And it's what my grandmother and my grandfather, so on and so forth. And what you see now with a lot of these Pan-Africans and these other groups out here, they take what they believe versus who we are. And then they get upset when we make that split down the middle. And that's why he's always getting upset about the divisive nature. And can I say this? Sister.
Yeah.
Sister. Last time I checked, African-American or an American who's African that's somebody who is not of our lineage. And do you notice he always goes out of his way to call us outside of our name? He refuses to use the term foundational Black American. He refuses to use the term freedman or anything that is lineage specific. He calls us Africans in America. And one, that's disrespectful. Two, people don't go for it. And three, who the hell are you to tell us who we are? You know what I mean? Like, I can't go to somebody's house and tell them, hey, well, this is what I feel. I feel this way. Your name is this. If your name is, John, and I call you Jacob, then that's off code. If your name is Marquise and I call you Maurice, that's off code. And I notice that he does that, and I feel like it's some Pan-African trolling. And at the end of the day, that puts us in the same boat with somebody who got here last night. And that's what we've been trying to separate from. We've been trying to get to the page where we are seen as a specific lineage because we know they want to blend us in with everybody else. So when you come over here and you call us an African in America, yeah, well, so was Akon and Burna Boy. And we know that's not the same lineage. Right. Did you notice that he keeps throwing that on us?
Yeah, this is the biggest thing. And what every single time when people get into these spaces, we have to remember, we're the only group, and this is why I made that very clear with them. I said, we're the only group who's facing zero wealth. We're the only group that's expected to be extinct. They're counting on an extinction day for us. We're the only group with that. They didn't say Africans. They didn't say Caribbeans. They said specifically us. And not only that, when you want to add us to other groups and other lineages, then do that when you go to their country. When you over in Grenada, when you over in Jamaica, you tell them that you're not Jamaican. You tell them that you're not what y'all lineage line is, and we'll see how they receive it. That's where my problem is with him, because he makes some really good points. Like, he really does. And not only that, when it comes to educating Black boys, 100% the brother is on point with that. Now, you take all of that greatness and then you come over here and you shit on the very line. Excuse my language. I know.
Oh, no. Hey.
I know you're okay with it.
You on the Black Alpha Network. You can say what you want.
Look, I was about to get Baltimore on you real quick. But that's real quick, he, like, for you to shit on the lineage line that has to produce these Black boys. You say you care about them. Why would you shit on the lineage line? And that's where my pet peeve is. You can't say you're here and you're not here. And this is a Black American thing. We got people that's coming to this country. You're coming to this country, which means you're a guest. We're the ones who live here. And to keep it a buck, most of our people, we've been shipped to this country or reproduced on this country for over 500 years. That's half of a millennial. If you're going to make us tied to Africa, you got to tie the Indians to Africa. You got to tie China, the Europeans to Africa. The Middle East is more African, which they are. They're separated, but they're more African than we are African. And they don't even stand on that. Why are you forcing us there? And that just takes us away from this land. We got to remember it's a fight and a plan to disconnect us from American soil. That was the whole push. These people work in sections. They're okay with the long haul as long as they win the war and they get their agenda done. So, like, that blows my mind. Every single time he tells us who we're not. Like, he cut me off. He said, I don't go by Black. I'm an African. Okay, African was named after a white man said Africa. He named all of the countries in Africa. Like, let's keep it a buck. Our Black America, let's keep this a buck. Black America is older than the names and the actual foundation of these countries that are over there that exist today. So what are you saying? We're ancient. We can really claim the ancient when it comes to the Black races. And now we know it's Black races that have been all over the African continent. We know that. But it wasn't in an organized state. It wasn't designated, it wasn't designated as a country, or they wasn't designated as countries, So if you want to keep this all in line, we really are more seasoned. We know more of their history than they know. And they have a younger population than we do. Africa has one of the youngest populations on the planet. So I'm gonna leave it at that.
Facts all the way across the board, sister. Facts. I'm gonna got some more facts that we're gonna drop on Mr. Kubar. As that conversation went, in the direction it did, then he followed saying these statements.
America. DJ Herc, the father of hip hop, he is of Jamaican origin. When we go to nationalism, Marcus Garvey, the greatest black organ.
I got to run that part back. Hold on, y'all. Now we know that's some bullshit. We all know that's some bullshit. Hold on. Let's let that
to
run.
The greatness of America. DJ Herc, the father of hip hop, he is of Jamaican origin. When we go to nationalism, Marcus Garvey, the greatest black organizer of all time, who built the movement from New York City, he was of Jamaican origin. When you look at the Harlem Renaissance, many of the writers and the poets and the actresses and actors of the Harlem Renaissance, they came from across the Caribbean. They came from even from Africa. So my point is, you cannot delineate where blackness begins and where blackness ends, even in the Civil War.
Whoa. That's you, sister. Go ahead. Go. He gave about 30 things you could touch on. Go ahead.
I think I just had a repeat of the face expressions on the back end of this part. In real life, that's a lie. Like, our people built all of this shit. The music came from the depths of the country, the damn states that we were in. What are you talking about? Like, and it's like, why is it, what is this new not even a new campaign. Why is it a campaign to attach other people to our creations? This is why I said, did white America sign a check that we didn't know about? Sign a blank check to the world? Did they do the whole, what they call it, the Berlin Conference move on Black America? Because that's what this looks like. And not only that, when you look at these people, you see them play our characters. They don't even have the energy. Our brother Tariq talk about it all the time on his shows, when he talk about the actors and their energy. But even before that, I know you guys can feel like when you watch a movie and you're like, it's just not here. It's not hitting it. We watch the 5 Heartbeats, is a different vibe. We watch Tina Turner, a movie, it's a different vibe. Malcolm X, I swear to God, forever, I will see Malcolm X when I see Denzel Washington, forever. And it's like, and he played the heck out of that role. And we really care about making sure that our messages are heard in the right way. And I really feel we're actually doing a little research, but we're finding out that somehow people on the celebrity side have been fighting back. That's why they're being erased off of this. So honestly, what he's doing is a compromise to everything the FBA stands for and our progress. And we're not in a position to be able to go back and start over again. So we absolutely have to shut it down now. Otherwise, we're passing our children the first generation of zero wealth or permanent bottom class in this country, and ultimately erasure, because that's the real ending to the story if we keep going in this way.
100% true, sister. I know, by the way, y'all, look, I didn't do this on purpose. Look at his face. Look how angry that man. Somebody say somebody big mad, y'all know he real big. He's big mad. Look at this man's face right here. That's how he feel about foundational Black Americans. That's what the lineage reparations conversation does to Dr. Kuba Vasquez. Now, if you was talking about Nigeria, or you was talking about the Senegal, Zimbabwe, or the Ivory Coast, he'd be smiling. He'd be having all them Pan-African teeth showing. But when you start talking about foundational Black Americans and the movement that we got going and the progress that we've been making, that's the type of shit you get. This man right there is pissed off. And it's only because we're moving. And I'm going to tell you who else is mad. The people of color is mad. The minorities is mad. The dominant society is mad. So if you're sitting here having the same facial expressions or you're exhibiting the same emotion based upon foundational Black Americans getting shit done, then that means that you are on that side. What side is that? That's the op side. We ain't got no time to be trying to figure out who's who. You an op until further notice. At the end of the day, you can't be halfway on code. There ain't no such thing as halfway on code. You can't be on code Monday through Wednesday, and then the rest of the week, you out here doing all types of ignorant shit. We just can't do that. And like you're saying, my sister, when you start talking about an erasure, this is real time. This is real good. This is real time right now. We're, at a time where we got to get things done, like seriously. The old interview, Dr. Claude gave us a date. What year was that? You remember what date that was? I cannot remember.
2016, he said he expected in 2016, if we didn't get it right by then, that was the deadline for him. We're on borrowed time.
Oh, I love that term. I like the way you phrase that.
And when we look at this, we're not the first group of people that's been erased from the planet. You know, we can look all over the place and we can see how this is done. And right now they're positioning. If you look at the television, you look at the celebrities, a lot of these people, with them not being us, we're being erased in those places. They displace us in our communities. So you don't even see yourself in your community like that. Right? So if they're able, with them doing this, and then you're painting us across the world as these degenerates who want to be hot girl summery all day or pants sagging all the way down to your ankles. Man, I ain't knocking them brothers that sag. You know, I'm not knocking that. And I'm not knocking the sisters who want to get busy. You know, I'm not knocking that. But that's not it. That's not all of us. And they're doing that because it's easier. If you destroy the image of us, this is why they say image is everything. You destroy the image of us, it's easy to erase us. It's easy to erase us because nobody's going to miss us. They want the world to get to the point of saying, good riddance, Black America. And then when you look back, we look in 20, 30 years, if we keep progressing like this with these maniacs at the head of our everything, we will be onesie-twosie, probably 1% population in this country. And our history, the whole story is going to be told by new colonizers who look like us, who think they're going to do something different, but they're going to find out in the long run that it doesn't work like that. White supremacy will use you until they get what they want to get done. And they want to get rid of us because we're the most radical, we're the most reactive, and we are not going to bow down and allow them to do what they want to do to us. We've proven this time and time again. So the biggest thing they want to do, get rid of the radicals because everybody else will assimilate. And it's kind of like they want to buck break us as a whole damn nation. And that's what's not going to happen. Even our youngest of the young, they will stand up and handle business naturally with that ancestral memory. Once that taps in, they will assimilate and they will put things on point. Our people just don't play like that. And we're not going to play like that.
All the way real. All the way real. Yes, indeed. We're in the 11th hour and people can't be upset that we're on it. And I love the way you phrase that as well, sister, where, you know, we got to go ahead and keep that ancestral energy, and the same energy that we've always had to get to where we are right now is the same type of energy that they're trying to, you know, get out the paint. And You're right. People have been erased before. That's why we call it an erasure. You know, people have been erased before. This is nothing new, and people understand it. Nobody's coming here to America to be our friend. People coming over here to replace us. And the problem is, a lot of folks who are coming over here to replace us, they look like us. You know, and that's the difference. You know, that's what separates the scam Africans from a lot of these other people. They look like us. And that's why anytime we call them out or anytime we regulate them, what's the first thing they tell us? They say, we all Black, brother.
Exactly.
Mind you, half of them don't even consider themselves Black. You know, remember the old adage, you know, you tell an African, he says, well, I'm not African. I'm from Nigeria. I'm from Zimbabwe. And then you say, well, you're from, you know, Nigeria or Zimbabwe. Then they say, well, I'm not even Black. So half these people don't represent Africa. They don't represent being Black. They represent sometimes not even their actual country. They represent their village or their tribe. And yet they try to put that tribalism on us. So we understand that that is definitely false. And what we're going to do is we're going to make some significant changes moving forward. Now, the whole Jamaican part where they start talking about Kool Herc and being the godfather of hip hop and all that nonsense. How you feel about that? Because he said a bunch of bullshit and it's hard to like decipher and dissect all the
It
bullshit.
was a lot. There was a lot. The whole thing about Jamaican, they were guests. Even when you look at old videos, I want you guys, if you get a chance, just look at old hip hop videos back in the day when Busta Rhymes used to come around. He looked like the guy that wanted to be a part, but really wasn't, the little cornball sitting in the background. That's what he looked like. And that is exactly who he was. Busta Rhymes has never been on anybody's top 20. I've never heard in the history of hip hop them say, you know what, Busta Rhymes in my top 10 or my top 20. And And this is the disrespect that he said. I ain't holding back anything when talk about this dude. This man literally came through, and he's a good featured artist at best. That's it. I don't see him like he got like Busta Bus. What's that? Keep your hands where my eyes can see. That one. That one's a jumper. That's a party jumper, and that's the only thing that's timeless. But then you go to the other music, the Woo Ha, I Got You All in Check. That song you stole from us. His name itself came from a Black American athlete. Like, how is it that you're gonna say we copying you and your whole makeup is us? You're not over there dressing like you from Jamaica. You're not. You didn't even talk like you was from Jamaica. I never even figured that until he said it, until he started coming out talking about this Jamaican stuff. A lot of these artists didn't come out and say this stuff until it was popular. But what they don't understand is when you listen to our music, you hear a variety of different sounds. And that's because of experience. We was going through different experiences across this country, but we appreciate all of that music because we can relate to those experiences, even though they all were done in different ways. The music, we felt it. That's the soul in our stuff, And when you go to these other countries, they got a sound, one sound, because they was going through those one experiences over here on this island, the one experience on that island. They got one sound. This is what pisses me off as an artist. I'm an artist. When you talk about hip hop is the Hispanics was in this. Listen, they had their own freaking experience, and their music reflects that experience. It also reflects who colonized them and their relationship to that colonizer. Our music is rebellious. R&B rebellious because it was never a popular thing. They never wanted black women to love each other, black men and women to love each other. It's rebellious when you had NWA talking about fuck the police. It's rebellious when you had our sister Billie Holiday and talking about strange fruit. This was rebellious. All of our music was rebellious. And it was always our response to this experience and our love for one another. And that you don't see anywhere else on the face of this planet. That you didn't see it until we did it. So put respect on our fucking name. Why is it so hard to do that? And that's where we got to fall back. And this is why we swing the way that we do. Period.
Yes, a million damn times. Somebody out there tell me who the African Whitney Houston is. Somebody tell me who's the African Tupac Shakur. I've been waiting. I could just say Michael Jackson and this conversation is over. We could all just end it.
Literally.
I can't find it. I know, they run around and every week they try to come out here and cosplay. I don't know if y'all remember, but I actually put up a picture. Y'all seen it before. They got the damn Nigerian Tupac running around here. Somebody said, "You see too black?" This dude running around all over the place.
But the thing is, we had riders for a long time. We did have some riders that was with us, right? Mm-hmm. Then you got people that just was so jealous that they went against us. They like, we don't care what it is, and they mad at themselves. It's that look in the mirror, you see what you hate. So they mad at themselves. So they come at us at every area that they can come at us in. And they try to come at us and try to degrade what we do. But really, when we look at the music that's the worst, we look at the background of these people, they ain't us. You look at the acting that's the worst. You look at the background of folk and you see it ain't us. So even in neighborhoods, back in the day, I know you guys can't relate or like your audience can relate. Back in the day, our elders made sure the neighborhood was clean. The drug dealers wasn't tearing shit up. That was not what was happening back in the day. And matter of fact, it was a respect level in the hood back in the day. And that's as early as the 80s. I remember seeing that in the 80s. It wasn't until they poured these other groups into our communities. And I remember my grandmother was like, nah, that's those such and such around that corner. You got to watch out for these over here. They brought that shit to our communities. A lot of them did. And then others bought shea butter. Others assimilated, bought some jerk chicken, and we were good. But we can't base those good relationships and experiences on those on a handful of people when you got a whole nation that's coming at us. It's not one or two or three people that's saying this stuff. It's thousands. We saw in real time at the Afro event over in Africa. What's our brother up in Philly? The rapper, what's his name?
Meek Mills.
Meek Mills. This man was fighting for his life. How was it he show up to the concert? He's the only artist who was attacked. And then they stole his shit. And then their artists go on television to say, oh yeah, we don't really know if he really got his phone taken. No, you know he got his phone taken. Like, here it is. And not only that, you talking about you opening up the doors to Africa. You ain't open up, what was it? Ghana, the whole back to Ghana movement. Yep. Oh, you do that after your bill come due with China in 2022. We're not stupid. And not only that, they wasn't inviting our homeless to Ghana. They didn't say, you know what? I know y'all been through it. Y'all come over here. They were going after our rich people, giving them statuses, saying, hey, you're going to be a princess. You're going to be this. You're going to be a duke. You're going to be all of this stuff. You don't do anything for us. Every single thing is for your own freaking gain. And this is where we cut in the line. This is shit. My people have gone back all the way to the 1680s. I'm good. I'm Black American. I don't have any intent on going anywhere else. That's it. FBA all day. We going down with the ship. My seeds going down with the ship. They seeds going down with the ship. Period. And you pushing us over there as you sitting over here, twiddling your thumbs. You know, it just blows my mind. And I don't want to derail the conversation. So I'm going to pass the mic back to you.
Man, hey, no, you on point with it. FBA all day and twice on Sundays. You got to get a certified salute for that one, sister. Yes. You know, I always tell people, when you look at foundational Black Americans, we are the only people who have consistently fought white supremacy. The only ones. I don't want to hear about the one time, the two times, the one hit wonders. Motherfucker fought it for 3 weeks in Ghana. I don't want to hear none of that shit. Foundational Black Americans are the only one, and we're tone setters. We set the precedents. You know, it's very, very telling. The very fact that the supremacists want to get FBA out the paint and they want to replace us with Africans. What does that tell you about the African? What does that tell you?
The weakest link. A white America would never. I was actually listening to a Frances Quest Wilson interview with Donahue, and she actually hit these points. She said, absolutely. What does it make sense if we're the ones who will wipe you out? Does it make sense for you to want to be equal to us? You making the levels equal to you is a danger to you. You will always go against us. And this is what, and it makes so much sense. And I know that's why they hated that sister, because she would come in so elegantly. I love her to the soul. When she would come through, she just laid it down, and you cannot fight a fact. They would get mad. They would start kicking and screaming, but you couldn't deny what she said. All you can say is you're being divisive, or what is this based off of? Those are questions that she easily answered, and we can easily go back to her, her studies and use as weapons when we fighting this beast also. We already see what it is. Now we got to make sure that the rest of our people see this for what it is. That's why I'm glad, like, certain people stepping out, telling our people, don't celebrate yourself, celebrate everybody else when you see everybody else celebrating themselves. Because it's waking up our people faster than we can ever do it. It's waking them up. Like, you see our people are waking up. I talked to some people the other day. We was talking about work, and they're like, yeah, this such and such on the job. I was like, that's what I was talking about. This is how I roll in the conversation when we talk about reparations. It's like, this is why we delineate. This is why we self-identify. This is why we are swinging and holding our own shit and making everybody else hold their own nuts. Because with us moving in this direction, Everybody is responsible for themselves, and it will prove who the dopest is. We've always been the dopest, whoever did it.
We stand alone. We stand alone.
Period.
They better follow. They better get behind all the way. Yes, sister. Hey, you put that A1. Yes, it's all about us. And I like how you said that too. Let me piggyback off what you said. I like that because when you start looking at this generation, we the first generation that started really identifying all these ops. The last 2, 3, 4 generations was we are the world. Everybody loves us. We're the ones saying there ain't no goddamn black and brown coalition. There ain't no goddamn yes we can. It's some hell to the nose, but there ain't none of that fake unity. And there's nothing wrong with understanding that the only person you have is each other. We all we got. We created that term. That's all about us. The only person who calls a foundational Black American woman a sister is a foundational Black American brother. The only person who calls a foundational Black American brother is a foundational Black American sister. So AKA we are all we got, and these motherfuckers cannot hang. They can't even stand next to us. With that said, now I'm going to play more clips of this guy, and then we're going to break down the extra part. So basically, all that shit he said about hip hop, a goddamn lie. It's been exposed. It's to the point where people from New York City, as you were saying, sister, and all up the Eastern Seaboard, all through the East Coast, they're all coming out and saying that's bullshit. And to your point, even further, if your ass was not on the plantations, you were not in them goddamn cotton fields, you did not create a goddamn thing that has anything to do with foundational Black American art or culture. That's across the board, no exceptions. Point blank. And Dr. Kuba Vasquez, Dr. Kuba Gonzalez, Dr. Kuba Herrera, his ass can learn that fact too, because that's what it is. FBA, no compromise. As we proceed.
Many of the soldiers who fought in the Civil War for African people to be free, many of them came from the island of Haiti. They were brought here by the slave masters.
I'm gonna get to that in a minute. Y'all remember the Battle of Savannah. Mind you, I'm down here in GA. I got my New York hat on, but I'm down here in GA. We're gonna get to that.
When they fled Haiti, and many of them ended up in the war. There were even Africans in the Civil War from Africa who were here. So for me, we have to be very careful about this definition of what an American African is, because there are no true demarcations. Just as we contribute to African culture today, African culture contributes to us today. And trying to separate who is Caribbean African versus who is an American African is a slippery slope, because in the transatlantic slave trade, most of our ancestors were taken from Africa to the Caribbean islands. That's where you were broken. And after you were broken, quote unquote, in the Caribbean islands, you were then brought to the colonies. Only about 25% of Africans came directly from Africa to the United States. Most of our ancestors came from the Caribbean islands. Even the vessel that showed up in Jamestown, Virginia on August the 20th, 1619, that vessel was en route from a Caribbean island. So we just have to keep in mind that, you know, for me, I don't have an issue with folks delineating, because if the Caribbean is going to delineate, and if the continent is going to delineate, I don't have a problem with the American African delineating. I'm simply saying there are no sure dividers when it comes to dictating or determining or defining who is a enslaved, who is a descendant of an enslaved African.
Oh, hell, motherfucking no. Shit, motherfucker, you out your mind. There are plenty indicators on who is enslaved right here in America. First off, let's get this straight, okay? Foundational Black Americans were here before slavery. You notice how he never touches the ancestral part of our presence in this land, okay? You can go back thousands of years and see Black Americans here in this continent, right here in North America, point blank. They never touch on that. They never speak on the Maroons. He dances around. He's really on some roots type shit. You know what I mean? He's basically on some Kunta Kinte type shit. Our history started at slavery. We were here before then. And let me say this, and Marcel pointed that out. When you start talking about Black folks coming from the Caribbean, when you were saying that they were there and because they were on basically buck breaking plantations because they were propping them up to send them to America, those people were making stops to be brutalized. That did not make them folks from the Caribbean, okay? Those were Black Americans, all right? They landed here, and then they had generation after generation after generation of Black Americans, foundational Black Americans. That's why we say foundational, okay? So he tries to point out the fact that Black folks came from the Caribbean that may have stopped in the Caribbean, but then came here. Ms. Giselle, if I'm in Georgia, and I'm from Georgia, and I'm on my way to Baltimore, and I stop in North Carolina, Does that make me from North Carolina?
Hell
Or does
no.
that make me from Georgia who stopped in North Carolina on my way to Baltimore?
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's just what I was gonna say. Because I'm like, bruh, it was people already here. I got lineage who was already here.
Thank you.
And they were thrown into these enslavement camps that they had in this country. Not to mention the transatlantic slave trip on the legal side stopped in the early 1700s. They were breeding farms all over the country. Two in this area. You got Norfolk, Virginia, and one was in the Eastern Shore of Baltimore in Maryland. So, like, what the hell are you talking about? They got pyramids at the bottom of. I don't even want to go there.
Hey, let's go there. Let's go there.
Down in Lake Michigan, they literally have pyramids. They have caves where they said it was. They had caves. This man had bought some land over in Tennessee. In these caves, they found riches from Mansa Musa. Okay, we've been here. We've been all over this world. So if you know that, why are you limiting just us? And I'll leave it at that because that's the question.
Absolutely. You're talking thousands a year. So this man can say whatever he wants to say, but that's a bunch of bullshit. And then not all the slave boats even came and stopped in the Caribbean. A lot of them taking straight direct flights, you know what I'm saying? Not necessarily flights, but they were taking straight goddamn trips straight to America. So he's trying to slide that in there as well as that Civil War shit that he talked on. And we're going to speak on the whole Civil War aspect. But I got a brother right here, you know what I'm saying, that I want to go ahead and bring up here in a second. And we're going to touch on some further things in this interview or this conversation, this breakdown. And that's what Kuba likes to do. He likes to come around, say a bunch of misnomers, duck getting challenged. Let me quit saying misnomer. Like I said, motherfucking lies. And then he gets called out on all his nonsense. But to that clip right there, I want to bring up another one of my brothers right here. And he got some things to say because I was talking to him. So I know. And he's got some things he wants to address about Dr. Kuba Vasquez. And basically the same thing that the whole foundational Black American family tree has been saying is that an op is a motherfucking op. And when you out of line, you getting your ass checked. I got my brother right here, my man right here, my brother Beatzilla. How you doing, my brother?
Man, I'm doing good, brother. Good.
Yes, indeed.
Have my seed my oldest seed just walk in the door. So yeah, man, I'm real good.
All right. Yes, indeed. FBA all day, twice on Sunday, man. It's Tuesday, so it's twice today as well, family.
For sure. And one thing I'll start out saying this, brother. We are watching a movie, and the movie that we are watching is Project Erase America's biggest sin and oldest sin, a tether story. So this is what we are literally getting out of our brother. Well, I'll say this and I use it loosely, speaking about Umar. This is a brother, and I say this quite often. I believe this brother has quit on the idea of true Black empowerment because what we're seeing him do is demonstrate, especially in the interview with you, Sister Giselle, and our brother Marcel, he showed a very strong disdain for our lineage here in America. And so that's not just saying for those of us who call ourselves foundational Black Americans. That means literally the people to whom have blood and bones in this soil under these plantations. And he has a deep disdain for that. And it came out in that interview to me. Another thing that he was also doing is there's an agenda to erase our history. So to try to, I guess, as we say, rearrange or rewrite history, one of the things you need is accomplices. So we see a lot of these Caribbean artists like Busta Rhymes and Fat Joe's, and everybody's coming out to start rewriting history that is less than 50 years old. Right. And it doesn't make sense because, see, for us, we could look at it as a generational art form because when we get to hip hop spawns off of funk and jazz, which all of that, it just keeps going back and back further in the depths of times in America where there weren't anybody There was no one else around. So it was only us that created these art forms and then kept evolving them as such. Prime example, we only know of like Biggie, and mind you, Biggie,
Right.
Jamaican, and I believe he's mixed. I think Biggie's like half Jamaican, half FBA. Now, would that be? I don't know, but I know he got the Jamaican. I'm not sure about the other half. However, with his freestyle ability, there's very few people on that level that can do it. Busta Rhymes being another one. Now, there are people that were Busta Rhymes, I believe, if I'm correct, I believe Jam Master Jay named him. You're talking about Run DMC. You don't really get much more of our culture being influence on the Caribbean. So with that being said, you're seeing a lot of these people now try to rewrite history while simultaneously becoming us. And it helps the powers that be that are doing all of this fighting against reparations. It helps them kind of start working on a whole new mode to long play us, let our generation die off, so then they can totally whitewash our history or tether wash our history and start having all of these people who won't fight for anything representing us. Like 30 years from now, there'll be a African saying, "I'm Black Alpha." You understand what I'm saying?
You ain't lying though.
It's
the reality.
Yeah, he gonna be the Black Jollof Network. It's gonna be the Black Jollof Network. Watch it now. Watch it. And now let me point this out as well. This is something that he said was bullshit. The whole Africans in the Civil War. Okay.
Yeah, what's that about?
That man he's just pulling the shit out the sky at this point. One thing he also said, we start talking about the Haitians in the Civil War. Okay, that was a Battle of Savannah, and there's only 500. Okay, there's only 500 Haitians. Okay, and they were brought here obviously through the French connection.
Exactly.
They were doing that to free us. They were doing that because they actually were tied in with the French, and then they got pulled into that. So he tried to make it look like the Haitians were like, no, we're gonna go free them over there. It's not how it worked. Okay,
not at all.
You know what I mean? That's the Battle of Savannah, and they actually have monuments of that. There's only 500 of them. He tried to make it sound like there's 5 million of them. Bullshit. But he said how Africans fought in the Civil War. Well, y'all know over here on the Black Alpha Network, we love receipts. Oh, man, we love receipts. Receipts is our favorite thing in the world. Shout out to my man, Rose City, right here. Rose City posted this earlier, okay?
Yes, sir.
Let's go to
Shout out to Rose City.
Salute to my brother. What immigrants fought in the Civil War? All right, let's get this straight. Wasn't no Africans. Let's get that straight. See, what he's trying to do, let me say this. Let me go ahead and frame it before I go ahead and go all the way in with these receipts. What he's trying to do is he's trying to make it seem like Africans freed foundational Black Americans. You understand? You feel me? Why he's doing that? He don't want to make it seem as if what the truth is, and that's that we freed our goddamn self. The way we constructed this, whole nation, our goddamn self. We built everything from scratch by our goddamn self. The whole FBA got it out the mud aspect that burns him. He don't like that. He wants to give it to Africans to the point where he's willing to just say a bold-faced lie. So, to this receipt, what immigrants fought in the Civil War? I'm going to read it. Hundreds of thousands of immigrant Germans and Irish fought for both the federal and the Confederate causes, most of them from the North. Around 200,000 African Americans served, which is foundational Black Americans, served in the Union Army and Navy. One more. Let's go to the next one. Hold up. They got off. Did immigrants fight in the Civil War? 1 in every 4 members of the Union Armed Forces was an immigrant. Okay. Those immigrants were not African. Another 18% of those were foreign born, but they were mostly what? German and Irish. What group of immigrants right here? What group of immigrants had the largest amount of participation in the Civil War? In general, however, most of the Union forces had at least some schooling. Maybe as much as a quarter of the Union Army was made up of foreigners, men who had not been born in America. Of these, the largest group was the Germans, followed by the Irish, followed by Canadians, and the English. Did y'all see African on there anywhere?
Woo!
Not one.
Not a one.
Okay, let's just throw this in there because I'm gonna be petty. I just want to be petty. I like being petty sometimes. Let me pull out the petty Pendergrass up in here. Okay, let's check this out. Which two immigrant groups were the largest in number prior to the Civil War? Germans and Irish. Now, when they also say that the Canadians and they start talking about the English, you don't see any Africans at all in any of these aspects. This goes to show what we've always said. There was no Africans fighting in the Civil War, in the Revolutionary War. The only black people were foundational black Americans. And no matter how you try to strip the lineage, no matter how many times you try to displace us, or no matter how many times you try to erase us, it does not deny the fact that we've been here since day one. As a matter of fact, we not only have been here before the dominant society, we were actually here before the land mass was actually built, because we're the ones that built everything inside of it. What were you thinking when that happened, Miss Giselle, when he said that? Because I know I saw you a bunch of times give some Negro please faces. How was it?
And it was, I kind of went back and did it. I caught myself, even though you're network, I got to remember these things are replayable. But no, seriously, when you say stuff like that, it just further made me understand the purpose of this erasure and how serious it is for us. Because he stood on those words. This man has hundreds of thousands of followers who will listen to that and carry that as a narrative. Our kids are getting fed this bullshit in schools. Our people in the streets have been neutralized. We had this conversation in the music with our brother Dewan B. We kind of unpacked this, how they even did it. If you look at television and you go to the music, they slowly took certain instruments out and they started replacing our artists. But when you go to television, you look at what they did with our kids with the Kid Bop. It kind of gave low vibrational music and it gave a different face to our music. People don't even understand the effects of that, because those Kid Bop generation kids grew up to be the crossover generation. That's why in the 90s, at the late 90s, you had the crossover push. And that crossover push is a reflection of what was happening in society at that time. It was like, look, it's cool. You want to do pop and all of this type of stuff, where the whole time it was a part of the erasure plan. And that is our culture is reflected through our music, our clothing, our music, our fashion, our theater, all of these things, poetry, our neighborhoods, all of that is a reflection of that. And this is why it was so good during the early 90s to do the Boys in the Hood, because they were positioning our imagery to be like, hey, this is what Black America is. Because those accolades now have descended to what's happening in the music entertainment space today. And this is where we have to clean up. We're actually, we're working backwards right now, just to be on cleanup duty.
Facts.
I always say that about cleanup duty. I always say that. It's like we all, everybody got a mop, broom, dustpan, and we're going through it. Let me play something else, and I want you guys to speak on this, because now we're going to start getting into the numbers part. And Marcel did push back on him about this. He starts basically trying to make it sound like there was a plethora of Africans in America. So as we sit down and we break down about their lack of, shall we say, presence here in America during the Civil War, let's actually talk about how he tries to basically say that there was a shitload of Africans just running around here, once again, trying to take what foundational Black Americans have created, or where we were, and trying to hand it over to the Africans. It's that same bullshit, sucker, dusty ass scam African play, and we see you, Dr. Kuba.
They have African or Caribbean ancestry, particularly Caribbean ancestry, because slavery started there longer before we got here. So many of us came directly from those parts. So what makes me a American African versus a Caribbean African when I got roots from the Caribbean? So it gets kind of deep. And that's another reason why I think we need to have, regional organization with the reparations movement. And of course, I would prefer a global, universal approach to the.
Did he just say we should have a regional approach to the reparations movement? Ain't that what we're doing by lineage-based reparations?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
This motherfucker contradict himself, man. He talking out both sides of his goddamn name. Really? Come on. Just a minute ago. Go ahead, sister.
He flip-flops. He said, I would say, ideally. He spoke on the ideal basic. And in a perfect world, it would be dope if every nation of black, well, we call them melanated folk, right? Melanated people across the world will rise up and force the people that enslaved them to pay them what they owe them, right? That would be dope. But instead, we got people coming over here running into our space, pushing us out of the space, and then wanting to take what we're getting because they see we're making momentum. That bullshit.
Facts.
So yeah, when he said that, it's a lot of things that could be said, but we know, like, from his perspective, and he did mention something. That's where I was like, "Are you Caribbean?" He said, "We." That's why I want to unpack it a little bit. Like, if you go back and you listen to that part, because he said something that made me say that. I was like, because in the space, that's why I was like, I don't want to put him on the spot like that. But I was like, "Are you Caribbean?" Because if you listen to how his delivery, he was like, "That's why I want to kind of understand this a little bit more."
He said he had Caribbean roots.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He straight up said it. I broke it down on a story of Dr. Kuba because we did some some real deep research, and brother came out and said that
So this answers it.
Yes, he did. He said his grandfather was Cuban. So this is what I call a banana boat buster. You feel me? This is a banana boat buster right here. And you can already see. He said it with his this is his own words. He said
No doubt.
You still have people out there saying, "Oh, what is that?" And the other thing, the man said it straight up that's what he is. And also, somebody said it was a step parent or whatever. No, he was saying his ancestors. I don't know anybody who says their step
he
parent.
always talk ancestry.
Right, you talking blood, right? When you start talking ancestors, you talking genetics, right? Nobody's talking about a step parent when they start talking about their ancestors. They talking about blood. You feel me? So this is what that man is saying. But mind you, like I said, man, everywhere this man go, when he's in Mexico, he's a descendant of George Lopez. When he's in China, he's a descendant of Yao Ming. You know what I'm saying? When the man's got when the man's in Africa, he's a goddamn descendant of a fucking giraffe. I mean, the dude says whatever the fuck he can say to try to get some type of goddamn clout. He's a scam African clout chaser. He flip-flops and he contradicts himself in the process. You can listen to this man. And in this interview right here, it was 5 minutes. Mind you, family, a lot of people don't know. We've been discussing right now for about an hour because y'all know we hit the ground running 100 miles an hour. But we are only into his answer about reparations. This is only 5 minutes into his answer. We've been conversating for an hour. That's 5 minutes that we broke down. And the motherfucker said 50 million goddamn lies. Everything was here in the Civil War. Then he says we, but when he talks to us, he says y'all. So you already see what type of time he's on, right? Then he also turns around and says basically that they built this, they built that. He said y'all can delineate, but delineating is tribalism. It does not matter. He says whatever, however. But y'all remember them scam Africans? Y'all know it's the same ones. What's the difference between Dr. Kuba Vasquez and these scam Africans that were showing up at our Juneteenth parades and selling us all they bullshit, they beads and they
another thing? Yeah.
Go ahead.
You're absolutely right. I say no, you're absolutely right because when you look at what they did for Juneteenth, I said and actually we just this weekend we had the Caribbean Festival here. Not one thing was Black American there. And not one Black American said, hey, you need to do something to reflect us here. Hey, you need to change those colors because we don't like them. Yeah, that's what happened with our Juneteenth celebration. And that's what I would expect him to stand up against and say, wait a minute, this is what we're choosing for us. And that's not the direction he's going in. It's like you go at us for defending ourselves. That's like people, that's like you wanting a battered person to go back to that battered person, and that's why I know he can't really believe this as a psychiatrist. He can't, because he always talks about how you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to have something better. But you're telling us to go back with people that abuse us, even if it's family. Why would you do that?
Real, and something that you made that point. He consistently keeps trying to get us to claim something that didn't benefit us. So yeah, I mean, and they've been nonstop confrontational and disrespectful towards us, and we've been in spaces just the three of us, and we're chopping it up just as we're chopping it up now. And we aren't thinking about them, yet they have to come to us to tell us what they think of us. You know what I'm saying? And somehow people like Umar get out here and start talking like he doesn't see it. Which I don't, of course, I don't believe that, but it's like, what's the reason that he's always going out of his way to ignore what he sees?
Right.
Hey,
But
brother,
then
let me say this. We talked about that, bro. I'm glad you brought that point up. Y'all remember how he's telling Black American women to go over to Africa and go find you an African man?
Right.
Yes, indeed.
Now, he never mentioned that Black American women have been going over there and have not been returning home because they've been getting harmed. Matter of fact, not only did he say go over to Africa and find you a husband, he basically said go over there and bow down to an African man. He said they won't tolerate none of this stuff. And yet stories have been coming out, and there was one that just came out this week. Y'all seen? I'm not.
I heard about that.
You seen that, sister? Where the sister was harmed. There's been elderly Black American people. You got Black American people who got their houses demolished, and these are only the ones that make the headlines. There are plenty of times this shit does not even make the front page. Yep. We hear this, word of mouth amongst each other, because y'all know Foundational Black Americans, we got our ear to the street. We really know what's happening. They can sell us whatever they want. We know what time it is. So we hear all these stories about not only our brothers going over there, but our sisters going over there and getting harmed. Has Dr. Kuba or any scam African ever came out and gave us a heads up, gave us a little warning and said, hey, be careful over there, this, and this? Or do they sell us Wakanda? And that's what it's all about. All about Wakanda. They've been
Wakanda that was made in America.
It's
made in America.
Yes.
We're the mobile home.
Right.
That's what we're the mobile home of Africa. Let's go even further with this. When was the last thing built since the slavery transition started? If y'all built all of that, why did it stop?
Right.
Facts.
Right.
Facts.
And hey, brother, can I make a point of something that y'all spoke on earlier? Something that I think both of y'all touched on was about, because Miss Giselle mentioned that Umar has good points about when it comes to young Black boys. And I in theory agree with what that viewpoint would be. This is my thing about Umar. Umar is only using the Black sons of single mothers. See, I'm a father of Black sons. So as for us Black husbands and fathers, he's not talking about our children. So you all have to look at the very slick way that he moves. He
the most vulnerable.
There you go. Because he moves in the manner of a militant Derek Jackson. So he's making a conscious maneuver and pandering to a certain audience that will say, okay, I can understand, because what is he thinking? You have young children, so you might have help from the state. You might have child support. In any event, you might have extra money to put into my programs as I'm feeding you the line of trash that I care about your sons. Because here's the other thing. He doesn't deal with Black husbands. He only deals with single mothers. How much can he really truly care about Black boys if he doesn't even interact with the ones who are raising him, or in my case, have raised Black boys to be men? He's not even in that category. And not to put the man business in the streets, but to my understanding, I've word on the streets is he's had child support issues out there before. So is he the best example to tell a single mother how to raise children, since a single mother was raising his children? I'm just putting that out there.
You saying that's another contradiction?
Just saying.
Yeah, you actually hit the nail on the head, because I mean, even with, like I was saying, me and my kid's father, it didn't start off immediately. I'm a single mom, if technically, if you look at it on paper, right?
Right.
But, and my kid's father, he does pay child support voluntarily. He wanted, after years, we had a love triangle. It's love. So you have love and then you have hurt. So after all of that, we get to business. But one thing for sure, that man holds down our kids. Like, nobody will see me talking sideways about my child's father. When I tell you the man, like when my child was told they diagnosed him with ADHD, they tried to say that we found out it was dyslexia. Our young son, he went and he started a whole basketball league that he still does today. He will work all week after working and running stuff all week and all day and go and coach boys. And those boys don't have parents to take them. They go, and that's not a man in my household. So talk to those. Why not talk to those guys? But he did mention, I think that it should be like a buddy system and all of that, where you have leaders in a community. He mentioned that. But what are you doing to create it? You have access to these men. You got a big school building. If you tell these men, I'm telling you, a man like my kid's father, he'd be like, oh, you need 1 day, 2 days a month? I can volunteer to do this. He does stuff like that. He will extend himself because he loves to build these kids up. But when you talk about if you really want to do something for the community, those would be the things that you're doing. You wouldn't focus on the woman. That's why I think what you said could be a thing. Unfortunately, I never wanted to see him like that because the stuff that he said has been very, very powerful to help people in our community. But like I told our brother Black Alpha, I said, I don't see him as an op per se. It's more so an opportunist. Like he looked for the opportunity. Oh, this is opportunity right here. I could jump in on this. This is the opportunity right here. I could jump in on that. You know, and whatever works, because he's on tour right now. So if you're on tour, you're about to go to these countries. You ain't gonna talk sideways. You over there in these countries. You got eat. You don't want to mess stuff up. You don't want to mess up your bag. He wasn't gonna say anything sideways. He's about to go back down to the islands. So why would he say something sideways about island rappers? You see what I'm saying? He literally and if you feel that comfortable, we can't have you on our war ground. And I was glad when he said, this isn't my area to fight. I'm glad he recognized that. So we gotta give him some respect for that. He recognized this is not his area to fight. Fight over there.
Well, you know what you just said though, it kind of makes him sound kind of funny. Like, okay, because what you're saying is basically he's recognizing that he has money on the table. But see, I keep telling y'all, this dude has quit on Black empowerment, but all of a sudden he's going on tour. All of a sudden he's bigging up Caribbean artists
that didn't do anything.
Right. So he's jumping on topics that he wasn't promoting before.
Right.
And now also going on tour, about to go to the Caribbean. Remember, we have a whole Caribbean Black caucus here.
Right.
Yep.
So
he never criticizes that at all, does he?
I'm just saying, who is paying Umar?
Let me say this, brother. Matter of fact, let me ask y'all this. When Dr. Umar jumps out and he starts saying all these gender things going on in our community, right?
Yeah.
Let me ask everybody this. Have you ever seen Dr. Umar ever come out and ever talk about this going on over there in China or in Africa right now?
No.
Has anybody ever?
He has called out. He has called out the swirling. He did. He's that's what he give them the slashes.
Here's the thing. Did he ever say that the reason why they swirl with Asian men is because African men don't have an economic base or need to take responsibility?
I don't think I've heard that explanation.
Oh, no. You know why? Because he makes excuses when he wants to. Oh, but we're not done yet. See, here's my thing. When he came out and he said all these things about us out here, the reason why the brother wasn't contributing to the conversation is because the same way how he doesn't contribute to basically anything lineage. If it has something to do with gender lineage, or it has something to do with economic lineage, or it has anything to do with empowerment based on our lineage, you hear the spite, you hear the anger, you hear the vitriol. It's always the same thing. Well, when you start talking about these situations going on over there, we can look at this right here, and I'm glad y'all brought this up because this is another thing that's been going on over there. And as a matter of fact, I see more foundational Black Americans doing it. And let me say this about Umar, and I said this to our brother Marcel. You got to be careful, Umar, because Umar knows how to say something and to give himself a little wiggle room. He knows how to say something, but you can't call him out on it later. You know what I mean? You feel me? That's why he said, well, I don't have a problem. Yeah, he did it. Sister, I seen it. He said, I don't mind y'all delineating. But then right afterwards, he goes on a whole tangent about how wrong it is. I've actually heard him say he supports reparations, and then he goes on a whole tangent on how we don't need reparations. The dude is a very clever person who knows how to sprinkle in bullshit with a half-truth. Our brother Dewan told me one day, he said the first lie is a half-truth. And that's what Dr. Kuba does. So he'll say little things and he'll criticize Africa that much. But when he criticizes Foundation of Black America, it's from one wall to the other. Has he ever really criticized this or went in on this the same way that he goes in on everything that we do right here in America? Look at this, family, right here. Uganda is worried about the number of Chinese men marrying their women. I ain't lying. I ain't lying.
That's hilarious.
Contractors, petty traders, investors, and entrepreneurs from China have been pouring into Uganda for the past decade. China is a top investor in East Africa, colonizer. According to
petty traders, though.
Yeah, petty trader, colonizer. Accounting for as much as half of the total foreign investment between 2014 and 2015, colonizer. According to the Uganda Investment Authority, but according to the Uganda immigration officials, look how they feel about immigration. There's one major downside. An increasing number of Chinese men are marrying Ugandan women to gain residency to continue their businesses, interests in the country. I could read the whole goddamn thing, but that receipt's big enough. Where he at on that? Where he at on that? Where he at? Hold on, matter of fact, let's hear a little more. This is a quote right here. Okay, officials told a parliamentary committee in late November that they are seeing more and more Chinese Ugandan couples swirling, colonizers swirling. They swirling with the colonizer. So you know that's a whole other shit. Often in sham unions. Sham unions. Okay, so basically the same way they come over here and say, I love you, please marry me, I want the green card. The same shit that they do is happening over there. Couples are normally interviewed before spousal status is granted, and Chinese men involved in sham marriages are deported. Check this out. They deport people over there. Check this out. But we have many who are marrying and even producing our Ugandan women are accepting to reproduce with these men swirling with the colonizer. An official from Uganda of Citizenship and Immigration Control told the committee. So you're seeing this all across. They coming over there, they knocking them off, and then they rolling the fuck out, and they're doing that for green card access and all of the above. But Dr. And ain't none of their asses said that, but they want to come over here and tell our certified foundational Black American women how they need to go over there to Africa and find them a mate. I call bullshit. And if you're in the chat, please tell me that y'all call bullshit as well, because I call bullshit. Go ahead, man. Y'all can take on that, man. That's
I heard him talk. I did hear him get on those other groups for that, but it's not the consistency. It's like you smack somebody over here, but you punch the one over here for the same actions, if not a lower value to that action. You know? So yeah, like I say, if anything, you telling us to build up Africa, right? We're gonna bring our money into Africa. What is Africa gonna look like in 10 years? Like what us going there, honestly, let's really dive deep. Because if we leave America, give up everything here, that's our rights, right? To go to a country, what's to say they won't just re-enslave us like they did to our ancestors?
Facts.
What's to say that you get us over there and then we just restart our plight for the last 500 years? What's to say? Like, and these people actually said that. I saw a video where the brother was saying, I would absolutely do what my ancestors did. He straight said, I would absolutely enslave y'all. He said he wouldn't do that. And these people, they have slaves now. They have children's slaves. They, like, if you're leasing your kids out to the people that go there to have sex. Imagine what you do to us, and you already got this hatred for us.
Right.
Imagine.
Right.
No, I'm good. I'll sit
Right.
with this ship over here.
Hey, the same people who sold us in the beginning, because when you see the dominant society and you see Africa today, mind you, Joe Biden went over there and he started talking about investing billions of dollars, and Kuba never said a goddamn
55.
thing about that. It's funny how he pocket watches us. He told us we don't need reparations because we're not intelligent enough to handle reparations. That's what he said. He said we're going to buy Jordans and we're going to buy Cadillacs, but yet
Facts.
he didn't say nothing about Africa shaking hands with Joe Biden and saying we'll accept billions of dollars from y'all.
55.
50,
Right.
y'all heard that. $55 billion, and he ain't say nothing for 5 seconds about it. So he's not pocket watching them. He's not running interference on them. He seems to only have that type of content when it comes to foundational Black Americans. Deep down inside, he understands reparations in our pockets. That dries up the money in the pockets of all the scam Africans. And then when their money is dried up, they are out of business, out of service, and out of luck.
And that's again why I would say that he is absolutely given up on Black empowerment. Because let me ask y'all this. And truthfully speaking, because it's something that we miss so often. When was the last time that you seen Dr. Umar Johnson go hard at white supremacy?
I hear him talking, going, honestly, brother, the majority of the time he's going hard against us not getting reparations.
I think, and this kind of like goes back to the point where I said, how can we talk about what Black men are not doing without recognizing the hardships that's in front of our Black men?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't say, I want you to run down the street and there's a whole big roadblock sitting in the street. You can't do that. And
Right.
then if you don't recognize that roadblock, and you like, why are you still standing here in front of the roadblock? Why are you not down the street? It's like you're ignoring the big elephant in the room. And that's where my pet peeve was with him with that conversation. I think that was disingenuous. Because our people, like, it's clear. Like, even in the commercials, you don't even see them recognizing Black men unless you bent over somewhere. And that's a story for another day.
Well, that's interesting that you said that. Because remember when he was on Roland Martin, pumping Black men being with Black women. That was what that whole thing's about. Now he's flipped.
Right.
You see it all the time. This is what we talk about. Y'all remember how we always say this? We say reparations shows you who's really on your side.
Right.
We typically apply that to the dominant society, right? We'll say if you got a white's friend, ask them about reparations and see how much they're your friend, right? You got a person of color friend, ask them about reparations. We can apply that same logic to scam Africans. The same African that told you, come home, brother. As soon as you say you can't get no money, say stay away, Akata. And it flips in a matter of seconds. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Joloff, he starts slinging Joloff at your ass real quick. And can I say this, since I'm Black Off Network, listen, I was born not giving a fuck. The biggest thing that Africa is known for in the 21st century is Jollof. Jollof rice is the biggest thing that Africa is known for in the 21st century and all of modern history, to be honest with you. See, when you deal with foundational Black Americans, we don't have to go back thousands of years to ancient Kemet or some queen from the goddamn pyramids. You want to see our greatness? Y'all looking at it right here. It's all in the chat.
Facts.
We in real time. We got real time greatness. Our greatness is real time. You see it as soon as you wake up and you look in that goddamn mirror. If you wake up and you wake up next to your wife or your husband, you see your kids walking down the hallway before you send them to school, you already seen greatness 5 times in 5 minutes. Facts. You ain't got to get no damn tether time machine to go back to no motherfucking pyramid. You ain't got to watch no old ass documentary to find it. They got to do that. Scam Africans got to do that. All we got to do is look in the mirror. Our greatness is right there. It's always been there. And as a matter of fact, I believe that our greatness is getting even stronger by the day. That's why Foundation Black Americans, yes, we making things move. Now, speaking of making things move, watch this man, and every time he moves his lips, you know he's telling a lie. Dr. Kuba Vasquez, he sounds a lot smarter when he's not talking. When he ain't talking, he's smart as hell. Soon as he starts talking, he sounds like a damn fool. But listen to this. Now we're going to get to the population and to the numbers aspect, to where he just starts throwing out bullshit statistics. Marcel challenged him on it, but watch how upset Kubar gets when Marcel does that.
Now, I will say that I'm not so familiar with some of the stats you mentioned about there being a lot of Caribbean or African soldiers in the Civil War. I'm from South Carolina. I know you know the Gullah Geechee people. and our system of slavery that was established in South Carolina was pretty much transported from Barbados until they realized that small island could keep up with the large demand for the rice plantation. But by 1850, and this is something that has been verified, the majority of Black Americans were third, fourth, or even fifth generation. Now, yes, America claimed.
Pause. How far did you say you tracing people back, Miss Giselle?
1680s.
Woo! That right there is literally 100 years before America was actually founded as a country.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
They stopped the slavery in 1808. Of course, that was a lie. There were still people smuggling in Black people from the continent, sometimes from the Caribbean, where they were seasoned illegally. Matter of fact, Jekyll Island, Georgia, which is not far from me, was one of the last slave vessels that were brought in with enslaved people. But the thing with reparations, that in America, and
look how mad he's getting, y'all. Look how mad he's getting. Look at his face.
Yeah.
That's that.
His jaws is tight.
Yeah, he got a scram African attitude, don't he? Look
Ooh,
at him.
his jaws is tight.
Yeah. That man, he's sitting there thinking, damn, I'm wrong as fuck. Damn, the jig is up. The money drying up. I got to go back to goddamn Cuba. Here we go.
that starts with the end of slavery. And the majority of those people, as I said, as data does support, were third, fourth, fifth generations. Most of them came from really domestic, sadly to say, breeding farms. Virginia and Maryland, where Miss Giselle is from. And then after that, you will have, as I know you know, a century of government-sanctioned terrorism. And by the time the immigration bill was written in 1965, the immigrant population of America, even though I know you cited that some in the Harlem Renaissance, the immigrant population of Black America was still was less than 1% in the time. And then there was
I would
a study
disagree with that. I would disagree with that, but continue.
Okay. Well, then there was a study just done by.
Wait a minute, family, listen to me. He's trying to say that there was more than 1% of Africans during the Civil War. Where the fuck did you get that from?
There's something like, what's that's a new story for me. I haven't heard that one before.
I've never heard that.
Keep in mind, Black Alpha and Beatzilla, it was Black immigrants that they weren't allowing to come to the country.
There you
They
go.
weren't allowing them to come to the country because they didn't want us to have people to add in and we join forces and go against them and black in the country. Not only that, even when they sent the Barbadians, they call them Barbadians, right? Even when they sent them to America, they moved them here. They weren't allowed to mate with our people.
No.
Just like the Indians were allowed to technically, the white ones, mate with our people. Like that's what even further makes us a specific race. Like, what are you talking about? We had to fight to get people that look like us to come over here. And even when they came over here, they were in small pockets and they knew better. You know, you wasn't going to talk sideways to us in our country, but they do, like every immigrant, like all of these groups do. As soon as you see enough people get into one place, people start, pumping their shots and, they do what they do. Now you want to stomp hard, but you wasn't doing that before. And that's really what was happening. They were just here, shutting up and dribbling. That's what the effects was of them. And one last thing, let's not forget what Muhammad Ali said. He went to a restaurant. It was Muhammad Ali that said, I know we're not the same, Black, because they said when they heard that accent of that African, they allowed that African to go into the store where only white people could go into a restaurant. He said when he went to go into that same store, he said, well, you let that Black man in, why can't I go? Y'all not the same Black. They always saw us as not the same Black.
Facts.
When they sold us to this country, which was Pan-African right there.
Facts.
That was a whole Pan-African push. The people on the continent joined forces in a Pan-African way and got rid of one of the our bloodline. And they sent us here. And the same thing is happening now. When you delineated, when y'all started getting these reparations things for yourselves, you left us out. But here it is. Once we gathered and said, all right, y'all left us out, we're going to pull us in and we're going to fight for us. Now they want to, now they want to be a part. Like, no, yeah, you've gone through experiences, and lucky for you, when we get our reparations, you'll get the trickle down effect.
Right.
Like, you're going to benefit right there.
Think about it, sister. They come here today and tell us how they can't help us, so they'll get deported. What the hell was they saying in the 1700s? So they was coming over here riding. He's trying to frame it like they were coming over here in the 1700s saying, I'm going to help my black brothers in America. They don't say that now. Matter of fact,
the ones that's
say they ain't with us.
The ones that's coming, B-Zilla and Black Alpha, the ones that are coming to America are coming from rich families. Those same families that sold us to this country. They're getting positions in the correctional office field and abusing our people. We talk about what's happening down in Texas in the prisons there. Like, come on now. And our kids are experiencing it in the schools where the teachers are talking down to the students, failing them in the classrooms, in our HBCUs that our ancestors built.
Oof.
Slaves or otherwise.
And you know what? You're so right, sister, that they come here and talk down on us. I think it might have been you. I don't know if it was you. My memory is, right. I'm remembering your voice, but was it you that brought up the Nigerians in what was it, Howard? That was it last year when they were doing their little like celebration dance at Howard. Y'all remember that?
Yep.
Yeah, and that was like
about the Africa Takeover Day.
Okay, yes. Can you just refresh our memory on that, please?
Yeah, you got Africa Takeover Day, which is what I was saying there. And again, during the interview, he tried to say I said slaves built Howard. I did not say that. I said our ancestors built Howard.
Right.
And then he like held on to that and he kept interjecting like, no, white man built Howard. And then I was like, no, they built it financially. They paid to get it built, but you never saw them get out and physically put shit together in this country like that. The Irish, yeah, because they were pushed out. They were under servitude and all of that type of stuff. But let's keep it a buck. They really didn't do the handwork like we did. And that's another thing when you go to Africa. Even in our worst areas, we not sitting in no tin hood.
Hell no.
You see what I'm saying? So let's bring me back to the point. What have you guys built since we left Africa?
Nothing.
10,000. The 10,000 point that we can make saying who's the dopest that ever did it. So I'm gonna shut up.
Hey, you shoot, you score. I always tell people, foundational Black Americans, we deal with something, and it's a simple word, and we got to get to it. When we try to identify why people feel, what they feel about us, we have to understand we deal with something that's called jealousy. It's simple jealousy. That's what we deal with. That's what we've always dealt with. People are jealous of foundational Black Americans simply based on the fact that we get shit done. And when you deal with Africa, they sold us. And can you imagine selling somebody, making deals with the colonizer, never coming back to assist them, and then seeing what they have become, and then 200 years later, 300 years later, 400 years later, you dressing like them, you dressing like the person that you sold, you duplicating the person that you sold. That's a hard thing to swallow. You know what I'm saying? No, they say, shut up and dribble. I say they need to shut up and Joel off. Okay, that's how they got it. Shut up and Joel. I got Joel off. I got bars.
Hilarious.
That's what it is.
No doubt.
This is the type of time that they've been on, and this is why we've been executing on another level. So we deal with jealousy. We're the person that you didn't want to date in high school, and then they went on to become a damn supermodel. That's what they don't want to rock with. And by the way, I didn't do this on purpose. Y'all know how I paused it earlier, and he was sitting there with that mad face. Look at that man right now, where I paused it. That man, he Pan-African, sweating all over the goddamn. Look at him. That boy pulled out a goddamn handkerchief.
Ooh-wee.
You know you ain't got nothing when you pulling out a damn handkerchief. He know he lying. His ass is sweating all out of goddamn control.
Ooh, I could say something right now, but
that's what
I'll leave it alone.
Hey, brother, that's what happens when you ain't got the truth on your side. That's what happens. Right now, what he's probably doing, he's trying to play that shit off where he's really thinking of some shit. He's trying to think of the next lie to say. But I'm gonna get back to the next part of what he says, and then we're gonna break down with some real receipts because y'all know I got them.
At a Pew Research Center saying
that's
that
totally inaccurate. There was way more Africans in here than 1%.
Well,
in fact, I would even have to challenge how they came up with those numbers. But continue.
Well, we have to look at the research, and then there was the one done the research and saying that over 50% of Black immigrants in the country came in after the year 2000. After the Immigration Act, there was a big wave. So
only 3% of American Africans are immigrants. Only 3%.
Okay, wait a minute. Ooh, I got his ass. I got him. He said only 3% of America's immigrants are Africans, but yet he told us that there was more than 1% 200 years ago. So you mean to tell me 200 years ago they were more than 1%, but they only represent 3% of immigrants today? Your math ain't math.
Man.
You know, in Havana, back in Cuba, they got some fucked up schools, man. The school system's all over. I know they said what's 2 + 2? It's whatever the fuck Fidel Castro says it is. I know that's the school system he comes from, man. I dig it. Trust me, I do. But not even a motherfucker from the worst school in Havana can have that type of fucked up math. They were 1% back before the 1700s, and now they're only 3%, so they only grew that much in 200 years. The motherfucking math ain't correct. Now, let me show y'all this. We got some statistics, and this is what our brother Marcel was citing. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to have y'all check this out. Let me know if this makes any sense, and let me know if this math right here is mathing, because when I add it all up, the shit ain't. More than half of Black immigrants, 58%, arrived after, the 2000s. That's what Marcel was touching on. Roughly 3 in 10, 31%, came to the United States between 2010 and 2019, and a little over a quarter, 27%, immigrated between 2000 and 2009. Among all U.S. immigrants, by comparison, about half have immigrated to the country since the 2000s. This is what Marcel's saying.
Right.
Including a quarter who did so between 2010 to 2019, and another quarter who did between 2000 and 2009. Check this out. African immigrants represented the largest share of recent Black immigrant arrivals in the U.S. Go all the way down. That says among African immigrants, this is pre-2000, meaning the year 2000 all the way back to the beginning of time. That's a long goddamn time, going all the way back, 51%. And then when you look, it says 31% and 43% came afterwards. So you mean to tell me that he's saying that it's actually reversed, and those 20% and those 31% came before the 1700s, and then the other half came after 2000? Now, in his world, these people came before there was an Immigration Act. These people came before there was any type of migrants who came to this country. And on top of that, not only did he say that they came here, he's also saying that they came here, they picked up arms, and they freed us. So, yeah, but to laugh at that shit.
We was tearing shit up in America,
1% before the 1700s, and then another 58% after the year 2000. So they had more people come between the years of 2000 and 2019 than they did between 2000 and the whole history. Y'all tell me what y'all feel about that shit, because I cannot compute that type of bullshit math. Go ahead, Sister Zell.
Well, these little numbers and stats. I mean, we've known that most of these immigrants showed up after the 2000s, and by the way, of a Clinton White House. By the way,
yes, sir.
So these are the things that got us.
Mozilla. Was Clinton president in the 1700s or the 1990s?
1990s.
All right, that's got to check.
Yes, sir. And what's so crazy is like this dude is pulling out stats that it's like, hey man, we all living, like some of us are around the same age, brother. So you're literally trying to rewrite history that we grew up knowing. and living. And so, I mean, because when we grew up in, let's see, we went to middle school in the 80s, high school 90s, early 90s. There was no boatload of immigrants. And I can tell you, I went to a performing arts school here, and that's where all the immigrants come. We still did not have a boatload of black immigrants. We had, and when we had the black immigrants, you know what they were doing? They were playing soccer. We had a championship soccer team because all the immigrants from all over the place they're into soccer. So another thing, they found camaraderie. So that means also the Africans and the Caribbeans. They found a huge camaraderie on that soccer field with all of those other individuals who are non-melanated. So just looking at the whole play that he's, again, trying to make, this is a joke. And we know good and damn well that there wasn't no immigrants over here like that because, like I said, we lived in a time where we seen only us in school. And then next thing you know, oh, well, we're entering in these people. And then when my kids went to school, oh, night and day from my childhood, brother. Yeah, I'm talking about we going to school. Here's little Muhammad and Muhammad. And yeah, I wish I was joking, but and then the sandals. Yeah, I mean, so the dress, but they still got this uppity attitude, just fresh off the welfare office, but looking at us like we don't belong here.
Oh, they're gonna do some talking down. They're gonna do some talking. Oh, by the way, yes, the chat room, y'all have me rolling. I'm telling y'all, Black Alpha Network, Certified Black Society, I got the dopest motherfucking chat room. Y'all be having me rolling hours after the show is over. I'm looking at the chats right now. That's why I'm laughing. Certified salute to the family. Certified. I want to before I touch on this, I want you to comment on this, sister, because you mentioned it about the projection of Africans coming into this country. This right here, what I'm about to show, is actually going to debunk the lies that he was saying, but it's also going to show what you forecasted, sister, about how they're bringing in a bunch of Africans, and you're going to see the projection of where they believe Africans are going to be by the year 2060, and then you're going to see it opposed to where they were in 1980. In 1980, there was only 3% of Africans in this country. Now, according to Kuba, it was 3% in 1776. But check this out right here. You know what I'm saying? Black immigrant population climbs to 4.6 million and is projected to reach 9.5 million by 2060. Right here, check this out. 1980, that's the one I have circled right there. And I was up until 4 a.m. doing all this stuff, okay? In America, not in Havana. 1980, there was 3%, okay? And that's black, and they say the majority of black is from Africa, exclusively from Nigeria, and then as well as Haiti and Jamaica as well on, okay? So it's a combination of pretty much mainly Africa sprinkled in with some of the diaspora. Now, mind you, sprinkled in with some of the Caribbean, and mind you, the Caribbean is right here in our backyard. Right. 3% in 1980, and then by 1995, and all the way up to 2060, they're talking about 16. Okay, this is what you were speaking on, my sister. Therefore, they're saying it's going to be 9.5 by 2060. And as I was saying before, if the dominant society is trying to bring in these type of Africans and at the same time trying to replace foundational Black Americans, does that not tell us all that the dominant society sees them as submissive, as docile, and as a good partner in white supremacy? See, what we are is that we are warriors against supremacy, and that goes for certified foundational Black American women, the best women on earth, and that goes for certified foundational Black American brothers, the best brothers on earth. And we all make the FBA family tree. It shows you that we are consistently the warriors who fight against this system and want to replace this system with Black empowerment. And by the way, we always say we want to replace it with Black empowerment, and no one ever joined us in that fight. Right? And we're foundational Americans, we're xenophobic, we're divisive. But here's the reality. The reality is that we've been the only ones trying to fight a system that harms us all, and we've been the only ones trying to hold it down to benefit us all. And instead of them coming over here, standing next to us, they come over here and they stand next to Karen and Ken. And by the way, I played in my video, y'all check it out, the story of Dr. Kuba Vasquez. I played clips where Dr. Kuba, he says he understands why they come over here and they side next to Karen and Ken. Basically, he condoned these African immigrants, 4.6 million projected to reach 9.5 million by 2060. He said in his own words that he understands why they come over here and they go against us, and they come over here and they go with Karen. He said that it's okay that they do that because we don't have an economic base. Now, mind you, we have
What?
That's what he said, bro. That's what he said. Dr. Kuba Vasquez, y'all check out the video. He said, we don't have an economic base, so it's okay for an African to come over here and disrespect us in our own country. Now, y'all know anytime someone says, however, I understand, but, or as if, they're basically condoning it. So he condoned this erasure of us, and he condoned these same people coming over here and standing with the dominant society. So these numbers right here are what we've been calling out for a long time. And if you notice, foundational Black Americans, as we speak of, we want to raise up Black empowerment, bring down supremacy. These people want to do it in reverse because they do not see themselves as Black. To you, our sister, Miss Giselle, you spoke about these numbers earlier. You spoke about 2016 that our brother, our great foundational Black American elder, Dr. Claude Anderson, warned us about, and how we're kind of behind. Now we're making movement because y'all know the Black Alpha Network. I ain't never gonna talk with my head down. I'm gonna talk with my head to the sky. So I'm always saying, we always here. As somebody said in the chat, we the roads that grew from concrete. So we always can do it. We won with less numbers. They lose with more numbers. So we always in the game. We basically, like our foundational Black American Mike Tyson, we can always knock your ass out at any time. It could be the 12th round with 2 minutes left, and we can throw your ass. That's where we're at. So we're trying to fight against this. How do you feel about these people coming over here, these numbers being projected against us, and Dr. Kubar Vasquez openly supporting his immigrant scam African partners being partners with the dominant society? I'll let you go, sister.
And this takes me back to Muhammad Ali. This man should have had a book out with all of his greatest quotes in real life. And it goes back to when he talked about the snakes. And it could be 1,000 snakes coming at you. Right? And you know some of those snakes are poisonous and some of them are not. You're not going to sit there and try to figure out what snakes are not poisonous.
Yes.
You're going to shut the door. And you're going to keep that door shut. And then if you want to figure it out at that point, you can probably let onesie, twosies in. But you're not going to hold the door open and figure it out later. In other words, we're not just going to sit here and let people just come in because you look like us, come in and sabotage us. This is why we're not voting Black anymore. We're voting based on the policies. That's what we're fighting for right now. This another thing, we're looking in the 2030s, guys, at zero wealth. So if you got a teenager, that teenager, or like a 10-year-old, that 10-year-old is going to be walking into a new America where they're the first designated permanent bottom class citizens. And like we're handing this to them. This is why we got to start lining up our weapons. Our weapons is the education, getting everybody educated, and codes matter. This is why what you were saying, how do you feel about these other people coming in? They don't get to come in. Those people at Essence, what they're doing down there with the music thing, they stopped a Black-owned business, a female Black-owned business in New Orleans from being able to do a book event during the Essence Festival because I think they did it because they weren't the ones to lead the charge. But because of that, like they're doing stuff like that. And it's a whole bunch of other people who are not from here who is leading the charge there. It's time for us to take our shit back. This is why the beginning of this year, I said, this is the year of the big take back. And we've been on our take back shit all year. Swinging and fighting, even if we fighting each other for a minute, we then assimilate, get ourselves back together, and focus back on the vision and the plan. Because this is bigger than us. And so this is right now, what do I think about this? That forecast, I see that not being as powerful as what they thought it was going to be. I see white supremacy changing its tool because they're looking at this like, all right, we're going to get 16% of them in here, which means that's 16% of the 13%. Remember this, 100% of 13%, right? They're saying they're going to make sure that 16% of that 100% of the 13 is them. Okay. And then the other half belong to the other nations that they allowed to fall into our place. And then you got the ones who are the biracials, right? What do I see happening with us on this one accord? If we hold shit down, they're going to block them out like they did the Haitians that was trying to float over here. Keep in mind, the ones that are coming over here into America, they are the elite class in their country. I repeat that. They're not bringing just the bums in Africa to America. They're bringing the wealthy of Africa to America. And then they're putting them in our educations, in our schools. This is what they've done. And this is why they've been able to win. But we're taking back everything. I don't see them winning. And I see America changing that strategy because they don't want them here anyway. They're just placeholders. Now, this is why it's important for us to get your kids on point. Your youth have to be ready. Your elders got to be ready. And everybody in between got to be ready. We got to treat this like the civil rights era. That's why it was so powerful, because they had the Ruby Bridges of the world all the way over to the elders. You know, the Elijah Muhammad's at that time. Everybody was doing different things during that time. And that's what we have to do. We have to make sure each generation of us is knowledgeable about our plight and our fight, and they're standing on that. And they have a level of confidence. That's why, like, the end of this year, I have an event here happening in Baltimore in 11/11. We're doing, it's called the Black American Effect. We will, and it's showcasing music and everything else. We got a lot of different projects that's going on, but I think it's very important that we start inserting confidence back into our people, because that is a big key that's missing. And I think if we do this right, we strategize and we start pouring into our people, it's going to flip this. They're going to have to go back to the drawing board and try again. And all of those people that were what people call as tethers, they will not have that ability anymore. If anything, they'll probably assimilate and get their own people together. We might be doing straightening for their asses in real life, because they're going to see, and it happens across the world every single time. When South Africa saw us stand up, South Africa stood up, burnt that bitch down. And they've been fighting ever since. You go over to India with the Dalits. They saw what we were doing over here, and they shut shit down. That's what we do. This is why they call us the moral compasses of the world, because people know that integrity, the even the fight for freedom, the heartbeat of all of that, the soul, it all comes from us. And that's where we have to get back to, because that soul is still in our people. You can go to a crackhead as long as they ain't too high up and leaning to, you know, they too line it up. You talk to them and they're there. You know what I mean? So we got a big fight, and I think we can do this.
How you feel about that, Brother Zilla?
I had to step away for real quick. So please repeat the question, brother.
How do you feel about those numbers that are showing the projection of these people coming in? And to piggyback off what our sister said, how we've been really upsetting the apple cart and we've been sending them home. As a matter of fact, to add to what you did say, sister, you look at the affirmative action situation, and you see they was out here having tethered temper tantrums about that. And what I'm seeing is that we have been identifying it, delineating, separating, regulating, all the way to reparations. And it's throwing a wrench in the game. How do you feel about us changing that, running them scam Africans off the block, running us, you know, I always say the people of color, you know what I'm saying? I call it the leeches.
The coalition.
The leeches of color, because all they do is leech. Those type of people, you know what I'm saying? How do you feel about the way we've been handling that, the way we've been addressing that, and just the projection on how to keep, you know, continue to run these folks out the paint?
Well, the one thing I see is, number one, we have made such a mark that you are watching immediate actions start taking place. Now, they've been railing against affirmative action for years.
Right.
But now that we're getting into delineation, I look at the powers that be. And, you know, again, I wonder if this couldn't possibly be part of their contingency plan. Because if you have to pay us reparations, which we are not going away about this reparations claim, well, then what happens to all of these other tethers that you've been paying to undermine us? Well, as you see,
won't fall off.
they acted that fast. So reparations is like literally affirmative action was struck down one day, and the very next day in my own local news up here in Portland, they were talking about California's lineage-based reparations. So it showed me that, okay, so now you guys can talk about this story the day after affirmative action gets knocked down.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's by accident. I think it's by design. And that says that what we have done has literally changed the trajectory of the forecasted outcome for a bunch of other immigrant groups.
Yep.
Because they've been looking forward into using us as their mules. And it's kind of coincidence that Black folks have been tied to the Democratic Party, whose symbol is a mule.
Woo.
Wow.
You understand what I'm saying? So you take that right, it all plays in hand. Now we have people like Umar talking like a militant backdoor Democrat.
Yep.
And it's not like how he's doing right now. He don't sound like he did 15 years ago. Now he says he's a child psychologist, but he's always attacking. We got to do something about young Black boys. Who would want to send their child to you when you're always denigrating Black men?
Right.
These Negroes, and all these Negroes want to do. Because you obviously have some inner issues that you ain't worked on as a psychologist and want to get in front of my child. So let's put this in perspective when it comes down to Umar. Y'all remember that nutty psychologist that got herself fired?
Yep.
When y'all look at Dr. Umar, she's a doctor too. So let's put that in perspective when these people start presenting themselves, because he's been able to fly real high on that until these other crackpot doctors have been caught in front of cameras, not being able to define what a living being or a living fetus is or what a woman is. And they're all educators, by the way.
Right.
You know what else he's starting to look like to me, brother? He's starting to look like a goddamn pastor. I'm getting that deacon pastor energy. You know what I'm saying? Next thing, let's be honest with y'all. He been building his school since 1773. Okay, I mean the man been building the school forever. You know what I'm saying? I've been searching for the school, man. I went to goddamn Google Maps and I went to old documents. I was looking at black and white pictures, man. I was looking at goddamn, color TV without color when the goddamn you had to change the goddamn dial and have one channel when they had the goddamn spin phone, and I still ain't found it. I went to Cuba. I was looking for the motherfucker. I went to Africa. I just ain't seen the school. You feel me? Somebody seen his school, please let me know. Because I know he keep pushing the goddamn shit back.
He put it online. He did put it online.
So he put his
when he first got it. Like he did put it online. I ain't see the inside, but I did see the outside on it.
Oh, but he was sitting on the rock.
Let me tell you something. I can take you right down the street and go show you an abandoned building, and I'll wrap a big ass ribbon around it and say it's going to open in the year 2037. But you can donate right now for $9.99.
He had a sacred rock and a sacred tree.
Oh my god.
This man
it's a good vision. I think he really could have monetized if he did an online school. Boyce did that and killed it.
But see, that shows you he's full of crap. And that's where the hustle show. That's where the con man is.
Yeah, you can literally. Right. He could have gradually went in and got a school. It doesn't take nothing. You can do a school. You could do summer camp and build up to a school.
Thank you. He did nothing during the whole pandemic.
Look at everything that's been happening on the FBA side. Salute to our brother Tariq. Look at all the great things our brother Tariq has been able to build. You understand? And I think a lot of let's be real, a lot of Kuba's jealousy And a lot of this hatred comes from he got a problem that Tariq has been outclassing him. And Tariq has really been out here speaking truth to power, getting things done and holding it down. But Dr. Kuba is still trying to build this school. You know what I'm saying? My great-great-great-great-grandfather was trying to go to his school. You know what I'm saying? I mean, God damn, you feel me? The damn school is fucking 98 years old. I mean, let's be honest with this school. I met Dr. Umar. I met the brother in 2000 and I want to say 16 or whatever. And he was talking about the school back then. You know what I'm saying? Put it this way. When I first met this brother was 2016. My niece was, 3 years old. My niece is, she's around 3 years old. My niece is growing up. She's a preteen. She's doing her thing now. And Dr. Kubar, so basically what I'm trying to say is we would have put her in the school. You know what I'm saying? She actually would have been able to go to school. This girl that grew up, she's going to be in college before the time the school starts. But is it really that shocking that somebody who subscribes to Pan-African, let me tell you, y'all know, I'm going to say this. This Black Alpha Network, y'all see it. I said it, cameras is rolling. We got 315 people in here. What does Dr. Umar's school and Pan-Africanism have in common? You can't see neither one of them because they don't exist. I said it. Goddamn right. Certified salute to the family. FBA.
That was a hard one. That was a hard one.
They know what time it is. They don't want none. He don't want none. They know what it is. We don't lose. Checkmate.
I gotta say, man, that dude, for everything that he has finally displayed, especially shout out to our sister Miss Giselle here and our brother Greg Marcel Dixon for allowing him to show and expose himself to the family for what he really is. Because see, this isn't a situation where anybody is, y'all accusing him or y'all hating on him y'all this family, y'all get a chance to go listen to this dude speak his heart to our brother and sister right here. And he is giving you what he is. Now, if you can't see a man that has given up on Black empowerment and is trying to find the source of income that will best be suited to fill out his latter years, which is what I kind of see him doing. Right. Because again, with the line he's doing, just real quick, say the powers that be come to him, say, hey, Umar, you won't have to compromise too much, little buddy. And by the way, don't you hate those FBA guys? Well, see, they're railing for this reparation. So what we need you to do is go still be pro-Black, but what we need you to do is start talking against reparations. And by the way, not so hard on white supremacy. And the January 6th thing, completely stay away from. And don't talk about any of the politics. Just talk about reparations and why Negroes shouldn't get any money. Now, I'm just saying this hypothetically. Now, in all reality, what has he done?
Nothing. Zero.
That's a good question. And I don't even want to see him in that. Honestly, I never want to see Black men in that, like a buck breaking position like that. I never do. Like even with all that he said, like I wouldn't want to think of him in that way. But like a lot of this stuff, the fact that he didn't want to kind of like target white supremacy in that case, knowing what the problem is. If we target that white issue, like even down to the issues that we having in the hood, if we targeted the main issue, the cancer, all of the symptoms will go away because the cancer will be dead.
Facts.
So I don't understand. Like, I didn't get that. And as a psychiatrist, I know that he knows how to like unpack things and the importance of eliminating the problem and not the symptoms. So that's where I'm at with that. Is I'm still on the fence sitting here, not on the fence of trying to understand him, but just on the fence of understanding the direction that he's trying to go into, because it does not make sense with him saying he wants to uplift the Black kids, primarily here in America, because that's where his school is. It's a physical school. You want to uplift, you need this and that for the Black world. But what is that really, what does that entail? Because it doesn't, like, it's not aligning with the things that you're telling everybody else, or that you're telling us. It's just not aligning to me.
Well, okay, prime example, like me and my brother right here, Black Alpha.
Right.
Okay, we got our brother Afro Elite, our brother Torian Rain Reloaded, our brother Kid Gravity, Juan B. We had to collectively say, hey, let's come together and do something. We got these big voices up here. Let's make something happen on this level and go forward with it. Now, what can you see? You can see us on a week-to-week basis. You see some kind of formation of this vanguard. So you are never without seeing one of our faces. You are seeing and hearing from one of us all the time. Where's his network of like-minded individuals that supposedly care about our community and supposedly want to help our children? Because truth be told, you've been in our conversation, sister. We've had hours upon hours of building and uplifting Black folks, and all of you parents in the room. How does that end up translating to what energy you start putting into your own children? Doesn't that mean something?
No, that's true. Because I don't see another him. You hit the nail on the head. You don't. You know how you can see different levels to like what we're doing FBA and otherwise. I would just say all of us.
Right.
Right. You only see like one of him, and then it's others. It's him, and then it's others who want us to take on those ideologies. And they sitting here in our country. They're not sitting in their country taking on those ideologies. So, like, I don't know.
I think that's indicative of where scam Africanism is.
Man.
If this was 10 years ago, we would stumble across our feet and then bump into 20 of them.
And
Now
can take you off on Sunday.
They running and dodging. They tripping over their dashikis. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to get out of dodge. Lineage base. I love that term. Lineage base. That has changed the world. It's changed America. It's changed outside of America. When foundational Black Americans, we got lineage based and lineage strong, and we found power in our lineage, despite how many times they try to tell us that our lineage is just some immigrants or we don't know who we are, or they try to Africanize us. Once we said, fuck that, fuck that, fuck that, fuck them, when we got on page and we said, no, this is all about our lineage. We are beautiful people. We have a beautiful heritage and culture. And it's, all the way down the family tree, no matter what side of the tree, what branch you on, right? Once we identified that, Scam Africans were one of many, as well as the Black and Brown Coalition, or the Leeches of Color, or the Minorities. All of those groups, they all started running for the fences, and they went back into the holes that they came from. You know what I'm saying? And we done moved into the era now where if you are not talking lineage based, we not fucking with you. And that's why we say we put the line in the sand and we break down this opposition. And if you notice, all of these people are opponents to what we're doing. They're not proponents, they're opponents. They're not trying to uplift us to promote our welfare. That's the issue we have with Dr. Kuba. He runs around, and when he speaks, he does not speak about our welfare or our benefit at a time when we need it the most, because we are most serious today. He talks about this generation. He said this. He said, this generation does not deserve reparations. Now, that's complete contrast to what I say, because I believe this generation is the best generation in years. No disrespect to the ancestors. We stand on their shoulders. But y'all got to look what we've accomplished. We done did more in 5 years than they did in the last 50. We got rid of terms. They gave us a fake Black president that they thought they were going to hit us with. They thought they was going to hit us with the Barack Obama for years. Then they gave us Barack Obama 2.0. And we ran all the fuckers out. You feel me? If somebody were to come in this space right now and talk some African-American stuff, they wouldn't last 2 seconds, because we know what time it is. So therefore, the Scam Africans are on that same page. And the reason why we don't see any Dr. Kubars is the same reason why we don't see any of these people of color or these minorities. They cannot exist in our presence. That's the way it should have been years ago, but I don't give a damn, because that's the way it is now. And we all made it that way. So all my certified brothers and all my certified sisters, y'all too, as well as everybody in the chat, we got to salute our goddamn selves, because we did it by our goddamn selves, and we're going to continue to do it by our goddamn self. And we don't need Dr. Kubar's help. We don't need the people of color's help, the minorities' help. We don't need anybody. Only thing that people can do for us at this point is have Joel off and a fucking smile. That's it. And run. Back to this breakdown, family. Listen to this bullshit he said.
Reparations piece. And again, that's not my fight. I'm gonna let y'all fight that, because that's not important to me at all.
That's there.
Pan-Africanism.
Whoa.
That's not your fight. That is not important to me at all. Hold on, one more time.
My issue with the reparations piece. And again, that's not my fight. I'm gonna let y'all fight that because that's not important to me at all as a Pan-Africanist.
Hold on, right there. That's everything we just said right there. That's not my fight. That's not important to me at all. I'm gonna let y'all fight that. It's funny how it's
y'all.
Brother, I thought we was all just one big African. I thought we was all
Right.
Africans and we're all one. It's funny how when he's trying to indoctrinate us, because that's what it is, when he's trying to indoctrinate us and put the scam African jacket on us, we all one big African Negro. But then when we start talking reparations, then it's y'all. I've never heard him say y'all when he talks about the Nigerian or the person from Senegal or the person from goddamn the Ivory Coast or the person from South Africa. He never says y'all then. It's only y'all with us. So therefore, that statement right there to me is the final straw that motherfucker is full-fledged 100% op. He cannot come around Foundation of Black Americans because I'm going to say this. You can't come in here and tell me I'm going to let y'all fight reparations for y'all and y'all can handle your own thing because y'all ain't over here. And he said he does not support it as a Pan-African. Now look at the contradiction in that. You don't support reparations as a Pan-African. So you're basically telling me that the Pan-African ideology that I can't seem to find anywhere, not even in Africa, Pan-African ideology does not support reparations. Then that means that the Pan-African ideology just admitted by de facto that they don't fucking exist. Because if you are for the empowerment of Black people, then you have to be for the empowerment of foundational Black Americans, which means reparations, a debt that is owed to us. So when you tell me that it means nothing to you, and that motherfucker didn't say it kind of don't mean nothing to me. He said at all. He said that shit don't mean nothing to me at all. So if it don't mean nothing to you at all, then why the fuck you go around on this FBA tour and every single interview you come out here and you talk down on it? If it means nothing to you at all, then you don't need to talk on it. I don't know about anybody else, but when something don't mean anything to me, I don't talk on it. They say, how do you feel about reparations? Next question. How do you feel about lineage? Next question. So it's not about them and having a disagreement. Remember, I said this to you earlier, my sister. I said they try to act like a disagreement and a disconnection are the same things. He doesn't have a philosophical disagreement with us. He has actual disconnection from us. And we identify that, we know that, and we see that. So at this stage, it's not about me feeling that he's an op. It's about him right there with that statement admitting that he's a goddamn op. With that said, I'm going to play a little further more and watch how angry he gets. And you obviously seen this, my sister. I want everybody to watch how he says this, watch how he feels. And now the spite, now the jealousy, now the vitriol is about to come out full-fledged.
But my issue with reparations, folks, is how...
Hold on. And it's FBA all goddamn day. Continue.
We would go out of our way to castigate 3% of African immigrants. 3% of us in this country are African immigrants. They're not a whole, they're not as large as these other group of immigrants that are here. But
pause. What he's saying now, family, is he's basically saying you being divisive. So, hey, Zilla, does that not sound any different than any of the tethers that used to call our space and say that we're being divisive?
No, that's exactly it.
That's him saying
this is him doing it in a smart way.
Exactly. He sprinkled a little scam African on it, and then he's trying to sell it back to us. Now,
you see how he just said that too, though. When he said it's only 3% of us here. That's why I was like, "Is us meaning you, not us?" Like that's why I was kind of thrown off.
There's
like
only
the way he said it.
There's only 3% of us here, referring to the African, and I'm not supporting reparations for y'all, referring to the foundational Black American. So he's saying that he is an African and he is not a foundational Black American. So there it goes. Who's being divisive? I have to ask.
Yeah.
Now, my brother Marcel, he is down here. He's right down here in the Low Country. So I can see Marcel's getting a little irritated. I can tell Marcel ready to go off on him. And I understand that our brother, he had to do the show, so he had to kind of, work with it and, speak, more cordial and more civil with it. But watch right here how after this, Marcel presses him. And as soon as he starts getting real pushback, and you were there, sister, watch how more angry this person gets.
Be that as it may, we would go out of our way to castigate that small 3% of our number in this country who immigrated from the
Oregon,
Caribbean, Central South America, or Africa, but we say almost nothing about the Latinos who have been raping your civil rights. You say nothing about the LGBTQ who have been raping your civil rights. We don't say anything about the groups who are really responsible for eating from the plate of Black America. Because
hold on, before I go further, everybody in the chat, we got 3. Goddamn. Hey,
I just need you to stop pausing.
Hey, they goddamn that scam African anger spirit is coming out, ain't it? That
Man, I was just gonna say that demon coming to the surface.
Hey, he tether transforming. That motherfucker tether transforming. Look at him. Look, he about to eat the goddamn camera. His blood sugar's blown up. You ain't lying, brother.
What is going on?
God damn, I didn't do that. I promise y'all, I was not looking at the numbers. I know I said I was up until 4 a.m., but I was not up at 4 a.m. trying to find where to stop this damn video. We didn't do that.
Hilarious.
He did that. Let me ask everybody in the chat. The tether neck roll. God damn. Blueberry muffin. No, you did it. The tether neck roll. Hey, y'all seen that video where the lady said there was like a shapeshifter on the plane? And she said she's getting off the plane.
What in the world?
There you go. Anyway, that boy transforming. Okay. Damn, I forgot what the hell I was gonna say. See, I can't fuck with y'all, man. FBA, y'all be having me in here crying laughing. I can't handle the chat of none of y'all. All right. He said, as I try to recollect, because y'all don't have me laughing, I done fucked everything up.
You can run it back a little bit, brother. Let's hear it.
I run this motherfucker back. He might turn into goddamn Masa Musa in this bitch.
No.
I know he says he's Marcus Garvey and shit. Okay. All right, I think I got it. He said, okay, I got it. He said that we don't. I need everybody in the chat. This is for the chat. I thought foundational Black Americans, last time I checked, what my man, what Nipsey said last time that I checked, we go in on all those other groups. I just sat here and said the Black and Brown coalition, the leeches of color, the minorities. He is sitting here saying that we skip over these other groups, basically.
Right. That was really weird.
That brother, he basically said that we have never spoke about these other groups. We just had a whole breakdown about Fat Joe. Fat Joe got brothers and sisters blocked right now because they're calling him out on his bullshit. You had that whole situation out in California last summer with the power or whatever the fuck. And they was out there regulating on that situation because those people were trying to, infiltrate our culture. The Puerto Ricans are saying that they created our culture. We go in on all of these communities.
Right.
Where in the fuck is he saying that we skip over all of these other groups and basically we means FBAs and we hits on the African? Everybody in the chat, would you tell me if you call bullshit to that statement? Do foundational Black Americans take it easy on all the other groups and pick on Africans? If you call bullshit, please let me know you call bullshit. That's all I'm asking from the FBA family tricks. Because
I'll definitely call BS. You
call bullshit, brother?
Yeah, because of this reason alone. Look at the people of the groups that he mentioned. Like I keep saying, this dude is a militant for hire, militant mouthpiece for hire. So if you need right-wing white supremacists, if you need to get a Black mouthpiece to be a vocal mouthpiece for you, hit up Umar Johnson because he'll go out there and talk mighty Black. He's not going to ruffle the feathers of white supremacists. And he'll also say, hey, stop asking for handouts, do for self, and y'all need to go ahead and start railing against the LGBTQ and against these illegal Hispanics. And you got all these other groups. Now, why all of a sudden we concerned with all of these other groups when we talking about our reparations? Peep that.
Right. And not only that, like, let's keep it all the way a buck. Every single one of those groups and beyond, we've held accountable. The only people we've never gone toe-to-toe with were the Black immigrants. We've never did that. We've gone at ourselves, even when we knew who was terrorizing our communities. We've gone at ourselves. We never went at the Black immigrant. And now that things are exposed, and now we have a visual, we can actually see the hand. We're like, hold on, wait a minute. You need to hold your own thing too. I think it was
Yes,
those
indeed.
videos. I think what neutralized us, honestly, was those Potbelly videos in the 80s. I really do. Everybody's grandmama was sending out the little checks for the little feed the hungry. That's what I think. A lot that neutralized a lot of our people because I used to always feel bad for them. I ain't even gonna lie. I was one of them.
The flies are just landing right on his eyelids.
Yeah, I used to feel bad for them. I never would have thought anyway. But regardless, we had like a sensitive and like a respect level for them.
Never once did we call them out. You know, it's so funny because, you know, Foundation of Black Americans, what we always say is that we've been too friendly. Our problems have come from being too friendly. This whole thing that the world has, that we've been so mean to everybody, in reality, we see that shit the opposite. We've been too goddamn. How you gonna delineate if you've been so goddamn mean to people? See, well, I got his ass now. Oh, he done fucked up now. Okay. You know, hey, you know, we get the points on the way to points, okay?
Right.
He says on one hand that we need to stop delineating, or delineating is wrong. How can we sit here and talk about how much we delineate if we've been so mean to people? Delineation comes when you've been too friendly, people have gotten too close, and they betrayed you. First comes too friendly, winly, then comes delineation. So by us delineating, that proves to you that we've been too open to others. That door has been open and people been flowing in and out the house, walking through our house, they dirty ass, leather feet, stepping on the goddamn carpet, kicked the goddamn dog, walked in the refrigerator, stole our goddamn collard greens, walked out the goddamn house and took that shit back home. And now we simply saying, not only can you not come in my refrigerator, motherfucker, you can't come in the house. How the hell do you delineate when your ass is already mean? Mean means you've been delineating. We ain't. We've been too friendly. We've been too nice. And now we're getting rid of that. We are the world. I mean, think about it. The terminologies that we used to use were happy terms. Yes, we can. How fucking pussy is that term? That's some weak ass shit, right? Yes, we can. Can't we all get along? Does that sound like people who've been means to the Africans? Does that sound like somebody who's been out here hurting everybody? We are, y'all talking about them goddamn videos, right? We are the world. We are the, it didn't say we are FBA, y'all get the fuck out of my house, you mean motherfucker. It wasn't that.
Don't forget our artists pouring money into Africa.
Yeah.
Big time. And also in my day and age, for all of you South Africans, there was something called the Sun City boycott. I won't play no Sun City. And that was put on by Stetson Sonic and Bono from U2.
Brother, so, you remember what's the word Johannesburg?
What's the word Johannesburg?
What's the word Johannesburg? And hey, mind you, I was a little youngin', man. And I remember that from House Party 2. I don't know if y'all remember, but remember Queen Latifah was on that Pan-African stuff in that on House Party 2. And they was out there performing. What's happening?
Queen Latifah was in House Party 2?
Yeah.
I don't even know how I'm forgetting.
You don't remember her from House? She was
I gotta go back.
Yeah, she was Tisha Campbell's roommate, right? And she didn't like nobody. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I was a young little like.
Okay, got it.
I was super young, and I used to be like, "What the hell that mean?" Didn't know until I got older that it was foundational Black Americans who were the main ones assisting South Africa during their apartheid. So it all goes back to us. So that's not a mean group who've been out here picking on Africans. That's actually somebody who's always trying to connect to them, reach out to them, support them, saw them as a brother. It wasn't until recently that we realized they don't see us as a brother. So we've been reaching our hand and they never extended it. So the same way that they never sent a sailboat back to come and help us, is the same way why they never came over here to assist us. And we did what everybody else does when you realize somebody ain't fucking with you. We say, well, fuck you then too. And we moved on and we did our foundational Black American thing. So we could sit here and do this whole gambit, or we could just get to the point. Kuba, you're upset, you're angry, you're in your tether feelings. That's why you got them transforming on the screen. By the way, I got to keep that moving because I know y'all talking about
hilarious.
You're upset because your money running dry and you're upset because the shit ain't working. As I proceed.
Because we're scared of them. So we don't want to upset the homosexual.
That motherfucker said we scared of them. I didn't even catch that part. Goddamn.
We scared of those other groups?
Scared of those other groups, brother. Scared of the other. Wow. Here we go.
To upset the women's movement.
I was getting mad.
We don't want to upset the Latinos.
We don't want to upset the women's movement. Like, our certified
Whoa.
sisters ain't fucking with them. Did y'all see the Roe versus Wade thing? Promise me, were the W women not coming out trying to get our sisters to fight Roe versus Wade? And they was calling that phone, and what sisters do? They send them to that fuck you button. You feel me? And goddamn,
I mean, who's paying this dude? The Lincoln Project or the Liberty or the Federalist
Gotta be
Society?
somebody. It ain't us.
It might be goddamn. It might be goddamn Dr. Phil, because he's got the same reparations idea as Dr. Phil do, but we ain't gonna touch on that. I already spoke on that. Dr. Phil's against reparations for Foundation of Black American. Dr. Umar's against reparations for Foundation of Black American. But y'all seen how that happened. You could just look at the Roe versus Wade situation. Them W women was in the streets screaming, fighting, clawing, and scratching for Foundation of Black American women to put the cape on and come and save them, and it never motherfucking happened. Our sisters sent their ass to the voicemail. Where I'm from, me and my brother, we call that the fuck you button. Bing.
Right.
Our sisters was hitting that fuck you button, and they was going straight to the voicemail, and we didn't come out there. So we let Ken throw Karen all across the street, and our FBA certified sisters sat back and watched it. So ain't motherfucking Foundation of Black American woman certified ever scared of no goddamn W feminist. So he could take that shit all the way back.
And this pause, I'm just saying, is hilarious. What is happening?
That transform. I'm telling you, by the end of this video, this motherfucker, he gonna have 5 arms by the end of this video. It's hey, by the end of this transformation, he gonna have 5 arms and still no school. I'm fucked up. I'm petty tonight, y'all. Let's go.
Lord.
So we're going to pick on the African immigrants because they're the only people we're going to get away with by targeting them. Why are you not targeting the real people who have siphoned off of the civil rights movement while we attacking African immigrant brothers and sisters? That's just my position. But again, that's not my fight. I'm going to let y'all have that because as a Pan-Africanist, I wouldn't even waste my time on that.
But you did just waste your time down on
you
us.
see Marcel's face?
Okay, hey. I'm gonna let Marcel. Hey, I'm gonna let y'all seen the video. By the way, y'all subscribe to our brother Marcel, man. Check out this interview. I'm just doing a reaction, but y'all check this out right here.
Let me push back. If you probably not that familiar with me, no one called out the Mejorando La Raza gang among a lot of Hispanics who a lot of times classify as white, even if they are black. Asian Americans, white women, these ones, the ones who are anti-black. Of course, the LGBTQ movement, all those groups get called out. But what has not historically happened in America, we as Black Americans have not called out those who look like us, but oftentimes this is all the same, who are Black Americans, freedmen, or FBA, as you would sometimes call American
Clarence Thomas
Africans.
has done more to work against Black people than any immigrant you can name.
Or
has done more to work against African people than any immigrant that you can
Candace
name.
Owens is not one of us. She's from the Caribbean. Now, Clarence.
Did y'all just see him try to put Candace Owens on us? And y'all notice, as soon as he got called on it, he just shakes his head and is like, yeah, okay. And just moved on. He didn't acknowledge it. My bad.
Thomas is from Savannah, Georgia. I don't know a whole lot about legislatively, but I do know, and I was going to get to this point.
Well, let me say this real quick before I keep going. We call out our homegrowns. Stop playing. We have terms for this. What are the terms that they call each other when they sell out over there? See, he's over here trying to our code. We got a code. None. Matter of fact, let me say this. Salute to my brother Sage. I know he's watching. My brother Sage, he said it best. I said, what do they call the colonizer who goes over to Africa? And my brother Sage said they call him daddy. That's what they do. Checkmate. Big facts. But they don't call out their own. Instead, he's trying to critique us who created terms for sellouts, for treasonous. So he don't really need to bring that to us. Like I said, and I'm going to get to later, I said, you don't put foundational Black Americans on game. We put the world on game. I'm going to get to this. Then I'm going to let him go ahead and show how angry he was getting. And then we're going to go ahead and roast another person because I've been waiting to get this dude for about an hour. Y'all know who I'm talking about, too.
Yes, indeed.
You don't know a whole lot about him. You don't know what just happened with affirmative action. And
I agree what just happened with affirmative action.
What are you talking about?
I agree what just happened with affirmative action. He pretty much made it clear that freedmen, which is a status that's held by the descendants of American slaves, is not racial, it's based on lineage. And now these other groups, like those immigrants you just mentioned, but even including some Black immigrants, cannot just come in the country and say American racism has hurt them directly. But let me continue real quick. I think the issue is that we're now calling out even Black immigrants who come here, and you've done this before, and have an anti-Black American mindset. You've called them out in some of your videos. That has not always
I
historically
call
been the case.
everybody out in my videos. I might call out African immigrants who work against African people because that is true. They exist.
Exactly.
Just like you got American Africans who work against immigrants. The bottom
Shameful.
You see how soon as he has to mention that he critiques Africans, he can't do that without immediately following it and critiquing us.
Right.
You can't even sit there and say, yeah, I do call out Africans who are off code. He's got to immediately follow that by critique back to us. That is a tactic of somebody who really don't give a damn and they completely feel cool with what they're saying. So if somebody says you're guilty for what you do and you trying to take ownership of it, okay, and I say, yeah, I did wrong, but you did this. That means that they're not really focusing on themselves. And
facts.
Somebody help me. Is that a shadow or what's up with that hanging little goddamn dread twist?
Oh no, that's his little bang.
This man got a goddamn.
He had just did a event, and then he came to this. So
if he don't get that shit, he got flat top dreads.
The dread bang.
Damn, and I don't remember Umar having a tether hairline. Maybe he's trying to really fit in, or maybe the tetherness. Maybe that's what he was transforming into. Who knows? I'm just saying that hairline a couple years ago was a little further up. Now it's a lot further back, and the one little dread hanging needs to get cut off. Let me play this, and I'm gonna play when he starts getting mad, and then we're gonna proceed certified black style.
Line is as a race, because I deal with us as a race. For me, this is a chessboard, not a checker game. As a race, we play too much tribalism with one another. The white man doesn't like each other all the time, but they know how to organize as a group to keep us on the bottom. Irish think they're better than Italians. Italians think they're better than Jews. Jews think they're better than Greeks. But when it comes to the future of white supremacy, they can call a time out to the petty differences that they have and work on what is universally in the best interest of white people. Chinese don't necessarily like Japanese. Japanese don't necessarily like Vietnamese. Vietnamese don't necessarily like Cambodians. But when it's come time to talk about what is in the best interest of Asian people, they can call a time out to the petty differences and take care of business for the race. My issue with us as African people, not just you and the American African, but our people around the world, is we are so pettily committed to our tribal agenda that.
Did he just say that foundational Black Americans are tribal? Everything he just said, does that apply to FBA or does that apply to
sure did. That's where I was like, I can't even speak to this because we know the tribal. Let me tell you, if it wasn't for the projects that they do to us in our communities, our kids and our people wouldn't even act the way that they do. It's a proven fact when you take our people out of the hood, those hood conditions, and you put them into other spaces, they're good. They're good. So I don't want to hear that. Like every group has their own issues, period.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And really all that was educated deflection. Right. And it's amazing. Like again, I have to go back to his disdain for foundational Black Americans. It's like while using foundational Black Americans' plight as a backdrop, he's been spending all of his time trying to promote a Pan-African agenda, which of course doesn't benefit us at all. But now we're seeing kind of the real reasoning behind what he's been pushing all along. Because now you like, as people are talking about reparations, why would he be the one being so vocal against it? Like it's a necessity. I can understand. You don't agree. Fine. It's not your fight. Fine. Why are you consistently in front of a camera talking against it? That right there, again, is very telling for me.
And listen, why would you talk about the accomplishment, the success, the ability to beat a war in this white supremacy fight? Why would you not see that as something that you would uplift? Right. Why would you say I don't have anything to do with that? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said you want these Black kids good. I thought you said we need these kids need mentors.
Thank you.
Why? under this system. If you're saying all of that, and then you turn around and say, "Oh no, repair." No, I ain't with that. I'm completely against that. Reparations is not just money; it's land, it's federal and state protection. So we're not watching Black men and women get their heads bashed in or blown off by these cops anytime they feel like it, or whoever else. And it's other programs to help with the repair of our people, and a promise to never do it again. Who the fuck, excuse my language, I know, I'm sorry. Who in their right mind would go against something like that for a group of people? You should be like, oh yeah, hold on, Africa. Black America needs your help right now. They've been holding it down for all of this time, pouring money all across the world for every Black group. We need y'all to stand for us now. Not once did he say that. Not once did he say, let's get y'all together to help stand for us. Like, not once. And that to me is like, that's telling. That's telling. And that's where I was pissed. Because I'm like, okay, so you're like, oh, I'm absolutely against it. Oh, so you're against the repair of these people who've been enslaved and it's on this soil for over up to what, 500 years? How could you say you're not for that, but you're for the betterment of African people?
Fraudulent.
Hey, it's funny though. According to him, that damn Africans help free us. The Africans help free us, and he's against reparations. That's one big contradiction. All of
Man.
And his Matthews name Matthew.
Like, he gotta hold those words because it was the HBCUs that he talked down about in this show that actually put him on the map. They're the ones that was hosting these lectures. And he probably going to when he goes across the country. They were putting him on the map doing these lecture series and stuff. It's I'm gonna show you.
Like y'all say, he never mentions CARICOM or anything like that again. He never speaks on it. He only speaks on what's going on with us. And I like the way you said that as well. You said it real good though, sister. You said in terms of helping foundational Black Americans. Like, now, let's be honest with you. Africa has never assisted us. Dr. Umar's actually openly came out and said that we need to help Africa. This man
shown up
to help them.
That's not our responsibility.
Since we got Marcel right here, and Marcel, I'm breaking it down what Marcel said. Marcel said this before. Marcel said they call Africa the motherland. Well, if that's the mother, it's the worst damn mother you ever seen.
For real.
Because they've never assisted us. So let's get this right. Foundational Black Americans need to help Africa. Africa is literally standing on all the resources, ain't own a piece of anything that they've created, has literally 3 different colonizers over there right now, and slavery still exists in Africa. You can Google it, you can look it up. They are still enslaved by each other and by other people. So you have every form of colonization from slavery all the way through economic colonization. And foundational Black Americans should do that. And I've said this before, family, and I'll say it 100 times. There's this new wave where they're trying to get us to get our reparations and send it over there. I always say you got 2 types of people. You got the person who wants to either stop our reparations or steal our reperations. The person who wants to stop our reparations realizes they can't steal it, and the person who wants to steal it realizes they can't stop it. And now we're having tether on tether crime. Yes, I said that. Tether on tether crime, where they're arguing on which one of those they're going to choose. Dr. Kuba, he's trying to stop our reparations. Soon as he realizes, like the whole goddamn world, that we are unstoppable and he can't do that, then he's going to try to steal our reparations. And if you notice, he's already sprinkling that in right now. That's why he says things like, take your money and go put it in the Nigerian stock exchange. He said that. I got the receipts on my other video. He said, take our money, foundational Black Americans. So if you're from North Carolina, South Carolina, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, Kentucky, Arkansas, I don't know if I say Alabama, but if I did, I'll say it again. Alabama. He said, take your people's money, the debt that's owed to us, and give it to Africa.
Out of his mind.
Hey, brother, did any of them ever help us from Flint, Michigan, or Jackson?
Hell no, not even a word, not a peep.
They didn't give us a glass of water, did they?
Man. What about Jackson, Mississippi?
Jackson, Mississippi.
Right.
What about
a glass of water?
What's going on with Mason?
Mason, Tennessee.
Mason, Tennessee.
What about the murders of our men and our boys and our women?
Facts.
Not one single dime. And to reiterate, like I said, somebody said in the chat, reparations is not just cash payments. It's not just cash payments. That's a huge part of it. Yes.
Right.
We have many sectors, but what we also want is them to put on in writing they'll never do it again. This is how we'll be able to sue them for the rest of their existence.
Right.
Like, it's beyond that. You got programs, because we got mental illness issues we got to fix in our communities. We got, and you also have federal state protections, because now you don't want us to get our money, and then these people get to do whatever the hell they want to do to us, and like torture us in this country until we ain't here. So yeah, reparations is not just cash payments. It's all of those things. All of those things combined. That's what makes reparations. And that's also what the United Nations said.
All in the process of handling white supremacy. Everything you just named, and still trying to fight supremacy at the same time. So you see, we got our hands full, and we ain't going to help Africa. You know what I'm saying? Now, mind you, Africa got billions of people. Okay, we only got a couple million, and this shit is completely backwards logic. So you see already the type of time that this man is on. Speaking of time he's on, I'm gonna go ahead and show this right here as we speak of his time frame and what he's thinking about and what he's up to. Watch this right here where the conversation starts to go really off the rails. And you were there, my sister, and I want to know what you was thinking when this started to pop off, because this is where Dr. Kuba really goes full anti-FBA and he can't hide it anymore. What they say, he got tethered Tourette syndrome. Just start blurting shit out.
Everything we start making those organizations. So let me get this straight. Hold on, real quick. The African immigrant will start an organization with them. We will start an organization and bring white folks in it.
We also bring immigrants in it, and that's the problem. That's the problem.
That's hypocrisy. That's a double standard.
We have been too all-inclusive, but the reparations claim with the Supreme Court ruling can only be based on lineage. And by the way, you said Dr. Kuba started rap. You know he didn't. And Marcus Garvey,
he's the father of hip hop, my brother. He's the father. He's recognized, universally recognized. He's the father. He's of Jamaican ancestry. You have an issue with Africans.
Of hip hop.
You have an issue with Africans who are not born in America.
Say it again, sister.
Deflection. You see how he just made Marcel didn't say anything smart. He said no. James Brown could be considered the king and the creator of hip hop.
Yes.
Because everybody samples James Brown. Nobody samples no damn Busta Rhymes and well, Kool Herc, his style they did. Like it was something in addition to what we were already doing. Like that, and this is why we gotta make sure our kids know this information. Because remember what I told y'all about that Kids Bop effect. Remember, because during the Kids Bop, they was feeding the Kids Bop. The teenagers, they was feeding them MTV and BET, MTV, and the other network that was on VH1. And the crossover was 106 in Park.
Facts.
So they fed that whole generation that was getting fed that from the bottom. They are the ones that's talking about, Eminem. He's one of my top 5. Like, what are you talking about? He wouldn't even be on the map if it wasn't for that. But I'm gonna shut up.
No, I totally have to agree with you there, sister. I mean, I don't understand how you have somebody come in so late that it also requires, like, would people really be talking about Eminem is so great if he did not get introduced by Dr. Dre?
Right. Not at all.
So let's keep it a buck. People be doing the most over that dude. And no, he's a good rapper, but he doesn't grace the top 20.
Right.
So, let's just
keep
it.
And the only reason why they only gave Busta Rhymes an award and they let Fat Joe run the awards because we were pushing back. Why them specifically?
Exactly.
That's like a needle in a haystack. You picked the needle in each one of those stacks to lead our stuff, and they just so happen to be the ones that's going directly against us. Here.
Right. Oh, the other person who was also present at the award show was Uncle Luke.
Yep.
Oh, that one. Oh, Lord.
So go figure. All the people who have been coming out of the woodworks to have something to say against what we're looking to get, all buddy over there at the BET Awards. So I mean,
creepy uncle. That's what I call him.
I'll say
that's creepy uncle.
Well, he's the thought father. You know, just so you got to understand, he's the thought father. So the Suki Hanas, and you wouldn't have none of these artists out here if it wasn't for Luke. So he, you know, they all could give it up to Luke and give him his flowers because he made it all possible for y'all to be as raunchy and ratchet on stage as y'all can be today.
Right.
But brother, I gotta run. But
sir.
Man, let me say, man, thank you for having this broadcast and of course having me on here. Shout out to our brother Marcel. Shout out to our good sister Miss Giselle for handling this brother Dr. Umar in a very professional manner. And again, I have to say hats off to y'all because you let him expose himself.
Exactly.
And it was absolutely brilliant and great. So hats off to y'all again. So yeah, I'm about to run. We're gonna do some family thing real quick. And man, I appreciate all of y'all. Shout out to the family in the chat. Y'all know what we do.
Hilarious.
We stay black, stay vigilant, stay alive. Black first. Have a great night, folks. Shalom.
Yes.
Salute, brother.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, since I got you right here, still, my sister, I'm gonna go ahead and play this last clip of him, and then I promise everybody that Black Alpha got to roast somebody that's already roasted to a crisp. So I'm gonna really do that. But I'm gonna let you hear this last clip, and I want people to know because a lot of folks was DMing me, you know what I'm saying, and they were saying they ain't like the way he went off the rails and was talking disrespectful. So I'm gonna play this, and I'm gonna let you go. Yes, sir. I'm gonna let you cook him.
I actually don't. You are
Say it again.
Oh no, that was me talking on the video.
Oh, okay. Goddamn, it sounds just like you right now live. Okay, here you go.
Amongst African people.
I actually don't.
You have an issue with Africans not born in America.
What I have an issue with is what's happening right now.
You are part of
what I have an issue right now is with people
I'm going to pray for you to grow past that.
Trying to capitalize off of Black Americans' gains and Black Americans' gains.
I'm going to pray for you to grow past that, my brother. Don't be a tribalist. Don't be a divisionist.
I do want to give you
African immigrants when you should be going at them Latinos.
Reparations is a lineage-based claim. Reparations is a lineage-based claim, and that is the way it has to be constitutionally.
What did you think when you were seeing that, my sister? That man said the lineage is African. I'll be damned.
I kept like at that point, I was like, he's just deflecting. And as soon as we make major points and people can't go against us, the first thing they do is say, he said we were divisive. That's something that he just said to Marcel. He said he was talking directly to Marcel for that. And I'm like, he said that we were divisive. He said, you just don't like African people. This is the same talking point that they use every time. I don't even get mad at it anymore. I just know we got them exhausted. They ran out of gas. There's nothing else to do. They about to break down. That's how I look at it. That's why I just shut up. I was like, it is no point. Like, you can't beat information into a person's mind like that. If you're locked into that ideology, that's you. But facts is what resonates with people. People know that's a lie. You can listen to a lot of the stuff that he was saying in there, and you're like, that's not true. You really believe this? I know even some of the people that said, you know, they're his riders. I had people DM me and hit me up and was like, I really got turned off for him, you know, from him with that episode. Like, a lot of people was turned off because of that. And again, I don't have no hate for the brother. I like the fact that he want to help educate our people. But even in this space, I'm starting to think even in another way, because your focus is on the Black youth. And if the focus is on the Black youth and we're facing zero wealth and they're going to inherit the first level of zero wealth? How can you say you're for the betterment of African people? You can't say that. Like, and so now your whole, like, you need to go and reevaluate, what you really are standing on. Personally, that's how I look at it.
Do you feel like when he was going off the rail, do you feel like it was something that he was building to, or do you feel he was really just,
I think he
kind of
just ran
masking
out
it?
of ammo. Everybody that run out of ammo, they go to the same thing. Oh, you're divisive. Oh, you just don't like Africans. Nowhere did Marcel say that. Ever.
Never.
And I also made sure that I said, good, big ups for what you're doing, spreading the news. Because I don't know if it's good or bad to, melanated people across the world. I didn't knock him in there. And I wasn't going to come at him aggressively because I like men do that. When the men are, that's a man space. Let them handle that part of the conversation. Even when he spoke with me, he did kind of he kind of went there, but he regressed because again, I'm gonna give, I'm gonna play the woman's role instead of like trying to be combative. I'm not gonna swing on you like a man would. I'm gonna sit back and let the men swing, and that's how we should be. And when it came to the right points, that's when I jumped in to help Marcel even more, but Marcel, he don't need no help. That brother, he always swing.
Oh,
But
yeah,
I tell you, he said everything that I wanted to say. That's why I was sitting back. I just sit back and just watched because as soon as he got to those, y'all divisive, you and all of this, that's when I knew we won that conversation. Because at the end, it kind of turned into a debate that wasn't even supposed to be a debate.
Right. I heard that. Yeah, that was supposed to just be. I heard Marcel say that he offered to debate him, and for whatever reason, it either got turned down, and I believe Umar was probably running from a debate, but he ended up turning it into a debate, Kubar, that is. And like you said, when he ran out of ammunition, he went to straight tether talk. I mean, we walk down the street, we got a million tethers willing to call us divisive all day. So, I mean, I always say this. If you're dealing with a black person that uses tether talking points, that means they're probably a tether or they're a tether sympathizer. The same way if a black person is
tether sympathizer.
Tether sympathizer. We got a whole lot of quotes here today. We got one line.
It's like the dictionary.
Yeah. Yes. I got a whole utility belt. But if somebody's using opposition language, then that's just kind of what the game is. And I noticed that he started kicking into that in the way he was being very disrespectful. And then he was crazy. Also, he kept projecting. He was basically doing things that Africans typically do to us, but he was saying that we were doing it to them, trying to put that divisive jacket when really
it was weird. It was weird. And not one single thing did one single thing that Marcel say that was divisive. As a matter of fact, Marcel was like, I even support some of your perspectives. And as soon as we started talking reparations, I absolutely am not with that. Like, damn. So you're not with nothing? Because that means the repair of Black Americans specifically, you're not with that? Like, so now people have to look at him sideways because of that. It's too much. Like, here it is again. Africa has had ample opportunities to reach out to us in America. They got a whole freaking continent. You couldn't find one little area on the continent to hook us up with.
Not one. We spotting you a whole continent.
But now that the China tax man coming, now you all talking about, oh, come here, my brethren. No, we good. And that's just why, like, everybody that's trying to ship us out of this country, and we need to keep shutting them down. We're good because I see something very bad happening if they accomplish that. We're already seeing it unfold. They thought we would leave in droves. I really believe that they thought that we were at the point of the tipping point. So I think they did the uptick in the killings of Black men and women to kind of scare us out of here. You notice on the Best Man, the final one, they did the whole repastor, whatever they call it, back to Africa thing where she moved to Africa and she took that man's daughter. It's a reason why they're like, shoot, they're not moving fast enough. Let's put it in the theater. Let's put it in the music. And they did both of those things. They started getting our musicians and our actors to go over to Africa and start buying land in Africa. They started putting it in our movies of us going with these Africans. Like, and it's weird. And, you know, at first we're like, oh, that's a fine black man. That's how I would look at it. But then it started becoming a weird thing. So now in our delineation space, we should be looking at this as if they're just no different than any other immigrant when it comes to us. And we need to act accordingly.
You're
I don't care
absolutely
if
right.
you look like us.
Remember, Ludacris was over there talking about bridging the gap. Steve Harvey with that "they is us" and all that stuff. He came out doing the same Africanized culture. Juneteenth. What's it? Nancy Pelosi and them was wearing dashikis as well, kneeling, trying to Africanize everything. Yep. I mean, come on. It's like a complete Africanization of our culture, and they get more upset, just like Kuba did in the interview, the more we reject. This is almost like as we build new things and we push along this process, we're also at the same time we're rejecting so much. Like we just swatting things out the sky, whatever they throw at us, we handling it, but we doing it accordingly. One more thing I'm gonna say this for Dr. Kubar. Dr. Kubar, Dr. Joloff, Dr. Fufu, Dr. Kente Clark, Dr. Dashiki. You can stay out of foundational Black American business because it's too much for you and your hands don't reach that high, homie. So from Foundational Black American, the Certified Black Society, and the Black Alpha Network, and all the FBA family tree, if this is y'all and we on some y'all shit and they them and we us, then remember that when it's reparations time, because why we get our reparations, why we keep moving on, and why we continue to get empowered, you're still going to be out here going gray with your little goddamn gray lock shadowing on your forehead, and that motherfucker gonna turn gray, and your school still ain't gonna be built, and you still ain't ever gonna find Wakanda, and we gonna be over here counting the money, and you gonna be over there having Joloff and a smile, homeboy. With that said, since I G-checked him, I want to play something for you real quick, because you were in a space, we held the space, and salute to everybody who pulled through. You know what I'm saying? It was like 7,000 altogether, did 7,000 over this last weekend. So salute to everybody who pulled through. And as we continue to roast, and by the way, this FBA all day. And anybody who's anti-FBA, anti-lineage, anti-heritage, or anti the reparations, fuck them. Now, as we proceed, there was a guy who called into space. You know what I'm saying? There was a guy who called into space, and a lot of people was wondering where this dude, because as I say, breaking down reparations ops. So we broke down obviously Dr. Kuba and the Pan-African version of it. And we understand the people of color way. Everybody wants in on our reparations. As you were saying, like we push for our reparations. And I know you're doing a lot of work out there in Baltimore. Salute to you, my sister. Salute to everybody doing work, because it's all going to take all of us. You know, we all do a little, we all do a lot, each one teach one, and we grow from it, right? We unite the city and we step to the world as a weapon. That's what we've been on. So we're seeing a lot of opposition, and I like how you said we got to be educated. Education breeds identifying. And since we've been identifying some of these people, we got the Scam African way. There was a person who done been ran off the block a long time ago, ain't got no credibility in life, not just the lineage. This motherfucker ain't got no credibility. And I also hear this man is Panamanian. You know what I'm saying? I heard he's very crispy as well. I've seen it.
Oh, Lord.
This person pulled into the space that we had when we're discussing Dr. Kuba. And by the way, there was a lot of tethers that pulled in. You know, there's a fake Black Alpha running around here. You know what I'm saying? Wow. And that's a scam African trying to scam Black Alpha. But you know, this ain't your weight class, homie. So this guy pulls into the space and he starts running a gambit on trying to, get us to focus on another particular group. He's trying to set up a trap for FBA. Y'all know who this is, and I want everybody in the chat to go ahead and know what I'm talking about. Y'all can see who this is. And this is what happens to this individual whenever they come around. Y'all done seen this man before. Y'all done seen him go out to NYC and get popped in the eye. Y'all done seen this man crying to DJ Vlad. Y'all seen this man come around a lot of times and just talk a whole gang of nonsense on foundational Black American brothers and sisters. You know what I mean? Well, in our space the other day, this man pops up. And a lot of folks are seeing, you already know, when this type of individual pulls up, they only pulling up for some reparations opposition. You feel me? So as he starts talking, and people just let him go, because you know how we do. We let people talk for a minute. We let them say what they're going to say. You feel me? And then we're going to go ahead and run the G-check on them. We're going to run the roast, right? So next thing you know, the brother or the crispy starts talking, and then my brother says, yes, the crispy brother. He's somebody's crispy brother. he starts running his mouth and starts saying things on foundational Black Americans and why we should get this and why we should do that with reparations. Yes, family, that's him running off the block. That's what happened when he slid into the space the other day. This is right here, family. This is exclusive footage. Okay, nobody had this. This is exclusive from the Black Alpha Network. Okay, somebody DM this to me. I got it early this morning. Everybody wanted to know what happened to him because I know he's making little spaces, troll spaces, hating on us. This is exclusive footage. You'll only get that here on the Black Alpha Network. Somebody had a camera, and they could have had one of them old cameras. It was a Polaroid, so you had to shake it. And I don't know how they had it. I don't know, but they had it. And then they caught this picture of this man running, skirting off the block because he slid into a foundational Black American space. And now it's the first time foundational Black Americans that had this man jet. But that's what happened on this situation right here. And you see the type of gambit, like I say, that they be on when they run interference on our reparations claim. So you heard it. I think, well, we discussed it. I'm not sure if you were actually in the space with the brothers and sisters who were in the space, because they was like, yo, what he doing here? And you already know, whenever we hit you with the who sent you, you know it's coming for the money, right? What were you thinking, sister, when you found out? Because I know a lot of people was tagging. Because as soon as this space and we ran him off the block, which I'm going to play it. After we ran him off the block, a lot of people were saying why he came, what was his plan, what was his agenda. What were some of the things you thought when you heard this non-FBA person pop up in the space talking that talk?
I personally, I'm like, who sent you? We've been here. Like, who sent you? And that's how we have to start looking at these people. We're going into an election year. They have to keep us distracted. This is why, like, in Twitter, when I see like the little clickbait space, I ignore it. Like, I bypass this whole space because the goal was to pull us in, throw us off our square, get us to spend 2 or 3 weeks just wasting time on him. They create, I call it the hamster wheel effect, all across the internet and in the streets. Like, we'll spend time on these hamster wheels, so when it gets time to get, when it's time for us to get busy, nobody has the energy. We still gotta do regular life shit, exist, go and deal with your own issues, right? And then come into this space. I say this space time we need to use as wisely as possible. That's what he was sent here to do. Take that time, because he knows when we get together and we build, we exceed anything that they even expect. They didn't expect us to use these talking apps to create a damn revolution. That's what this is. We're getting there. They did not expect for us to blow up like this. They like, we got enough degeneracy poured into them that they just gonna be, they're gonna fall off. They're gonna waste all of this energy and we're gonna be successful. And we did the complete opposite. We've turned these digital world into our new marching grounds. And that's what we do. And he's sent to be a distraction. So the biggest weapon we can use against him is silence. When he says something dumb, punch him with lyrics, like words, not physically. Punch him with words that'll shut him down, and then just ignore him. Anything after that is like an ant yelling at you. Who cares? You're a giant, so we gotta act like giants.
You saying what's an ant to a giant, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Now I'm going to play this for you, and I want everybody to listen. This is what happened in the space when this person ended up pulling up, talking. I got my brother Sage shut it down real quick ASAP. But I want y'all to notice some of the traps that he was trying to set. Now, he don't know that foundational Black Americans, Black, certified Black Society, Black Alpha Network, we ain't going for no traps now. We ain't falling for no traps. And I want to see if the brothers and sisters can identify what he's trying to do. This is what went on the space. And if you guys want to check out the whole space, tap into our sister D Tubman. Make sure you guys subscribe to her channel. Appreciate our sister. She's got the whole space up right now. Yeah, she
dope. That's how I'm finding out about most stuff. If it wasn't for her, I find out because of D Tubman.
Yes, one of a kind. Truly one of a kind. I'm going to let everybody hear this and watch the op type of language. And this is the type of op language that we got to look out for. Now, mind you, we ain't here talking about FBA. We ain't here breaking it down. We're having a good conversation. And out of nowhere, this shit pop up. He got a blue check. He should have a black check. But check this out and watch what ends up happening. and watch the way we run him off the block. So when I say run off the block, when I say run out the paint, trust and believe that's exactly how we did it. Listen.
We're going to go to...
First off, what I got to do here is let everybody know.
Tommy?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Hello?
you can be heard.
Okay. Yeah, that was a bit lengthy. I was talking, was wondering, I listened to the woman speak earlier, and you guys were talking.
Listen how he's talking all friendly, because they always start off friendly. I was listening and I was talking, and they always try to come in sounding endearing. And you know, as soon as they start trying to hit you with that, they about to spin it on you in a couple seconds. Watch the way this shit go left fast.
Talking about Dr. Umar Johnson and about, you know, he may be a little bit two-faced or things like that. But I always ask this question, and if you guys could just hear me out for a couple of seconds. When, excuse me.
Look, you can't even get it together.
When we're dealing with reparations,
you can't even get it together.
It would appear that one of the...
I want y'all to notice how he stopped real quick. And as he's trying to talk, he stops to fake clear his breath. Y'all know when people do that and they fake clear their throat, they really ain't got their words. So you could already hear that he's shaky. You know what I'm saying? A real man speaks with real authority.
You said shaking.
He's shaky. He got salt all in his throat. He just shaking because he don't know what he's about to say. You know he's about to say some bullshit. So he can't stand on it. So you could already hear from the jump that he's like, the Dr. Umar and bullshit. You about to say some sucker shit, homeboy. And we probably know why you clearing your throat, but let's keep it going.
One of the things that reparations should bring up is this Jewish-Black alliance. The Jews got their money, and they continue to get their money. They got it from the United States. They got it from Germany. They get it from everywhere. Every year we send them money, make sure that they're okay. But if you talk about them, things go left. Why is it that they don't ask or run around the government and say, we got our money and those blacks should get theirs too? We stood by them during, you know, when they say that they stood by us during civil rights. And they're supposed to be all down with us, right? So why is it that they're not saying blacks deserve their reparations if they know not only they got their reparations, but they're continuing to get them, but the state of Israel is getting sent billions of dollars from the United States just so they can contain and make sure that their land stays, quote unquote, democratic. We never bring up what it is that they do. Y'all talked about rap and y'all talk about whites. And I want y'all to understand that we bring up whites a lot, but there's a group of people that's white that y'all can't bring up. Because remember, we're talking about...
Family, what does that got to do with our reparations? Somebody please tell me.
We don't have
what
to
that has
listen
to,
to no more that man. It wasn't about that. I told you that spinning wheel that I was talking about. He knows that a conversation with us bashing them will get most of our platforms that make the loudest noise shut down automatically and forever. And he also knows that talking about them will create another issue, whether you're going to end up in a financial issue because they're going to sue you, or you could get discredited, or all of those things. Go to your job. They know exactly. He knew exactly what he was doing. He's like, hey, don't look at me, the big bad wolf. Look at them over there. We already looking at them. And this is the thing. And that's what he came up there to do. He wanted us to switch, and that's another deflection. But we're so like on point with it now. We just shut their asses down and go to the next thing. And that's all it's gonna be. He's not the only one. But the same thing with what's his name? He did it also. Umar did it also. He said, well, what about the whites, the gays, and the this and the that? What are you talking about, sir? We get on anybody that attack us directly. Are they in our face right now? No. But you know who said they're going to do an Africa takeover there at our HBCUs? You know who said that they was get ready to fight to take away Black History Month? You know who told us to get over slavery? You know who's out here going directly against us? Right. This right here, it's like proof in the pudding. So that's where we are, and we don't have to turn our heads away from anybody. Just like Marcel said, and like I said a little bit earlier, we never came at the Africans or the islanders, no people of black descent. But now that time is over. This is a new age, and we can see the weapon that you've been allowed to be in our community, and it's not going to stand anymore. Not if we want to successfully push our people to the finish line.
Yes, you know what? You know what he was trying to do? He was trying to entrap us. See, if they can't stop our movement, they'll try to entrap our movement. Yep. So that's
what this person just said.
Oh, there we go. Yep. There. See, boy, I tell everybody, I got the coldest chat. Ain't nobody rocking with my chat. My chat is the best. We number one. That's a fact. And y'all funny as hell. I got the best chat on.
I know I was laughing at a lot of them that was popping up.
Yeah. I'll tell everybody, you want a good one, come on over to the Black Alpha Network, tap into the chat. It's a block party every Tuesday. And y'all make sure y'all subscribe and smash that like button. If you ain't subscribed right now, make sure you subscribe, smash that like button. 289 people in here. We've been rocking around 300 for 3 hours. That's how we do things. It's one big family because it is a family, and that's how we move. He was trying to Kyrie Irving me. That's what he was trying to do. He was literally trying to Kyrie Irving us and trying to run that on us to where we could fall for that trap, say something, and then they could point, like you were saying. They could say, look, see what they said? So he's trying to get the diversion going where they get us off of reparations. This man started talking about rap music. I mean, what? Nobody talking about any of that in the whole space. So he slides in, you know what I'm saying? He tries to talk that talk and try to speak on foundational Black American business. And he tries to entrap us by bringing up other people from other communities that he feels that he can put that down on us. But he ran into a room full of certified. So that little thing where that guy caught him with that Polaroid, where he was literally running off the block, we've seen it live and in living color. Let me play this for everybody. I want everybody to see right here. This is what ended up happening. This was this man before. So y'all want to see his reparations stance. Now, mind you, we're in there talking about reparations and handling our business. He pulls up speaking about other communities and trying to get us to fall for that game. Listen to this right here, family. This is how this man feels about reparations, and this is his reparation stance.
You saw the Mayweather fight? I saw it. I don't sit up here and act like these people, you want to hear my thoughts about reparations? I just don't think we should get it because it's too many. Listen, it's too many. Who do you give it to? And I don't understand. Like, okay, we don't know who came from where, and just because you're Black, but then there's some people who are Black, but they look really light. And there's some people who are direct mix, but they look.
And there's some people who are crispy who got ran the fuck off the block. You forgot them people.
Look Black. So who do you give it to? Here's what I believe should happen with the United States. I think that all Black people in the United States should not have to pay taxes. If you want to give reparations to Black people, to me, that's it. We should not have to pay taxes on the money we make. I'll deal with that. I think that's fair. What do you think?
Family, what do y'all think? Do y'all think this right here
I think he's goofy.
is a tether cop out, a buster?
Yeah, I'm gonna let him hold that whole word that he just said and take it to the trash can. No, absolutely not.
Yes.
That was just like just listen. You see, he ran out of points. That's
yes.
What he tried to, like, brother, fall back. You still not getting the bag. You already know who it applies to because it's not you. You know it's not you. You're not invited to the party. You don't get to leech off of us anymore. Go holler at the people. Go holler at your country.
You see what happens when we tell them, hell no. See, I tell people all the time, foundational Black Americans, we've gained a lot of power just by telling people no. Just by telling somebody a simple no, that changes the whole game. So once you tell somebody no, and they cannot mooch off of you, they cannot steal. Mind you, y'all, we got to remember this, and I want everybody to lock this in. Tethers need us. We don't need them. Foundational Black Americans don't need no goddamn body except for foundational Black Americans. We excellent and exceptional by our goddamn self. If they cannot tether on us, they can't eat tonight. Their whole livelihood is based upon stealing from us. So once we cut that off and we reject that shit, they ain't got nothing. That goes for the coons, that goes for the smuts, that goes for the counterfeits. All of them, to me, are in the same box. It's the off code to get the fuck away from me box, and you can't have what we got. So I'm going to let everybody hear the rest of this right here, and then I'm going to show y'all how it ended. And just to give you a little spoiler, it ends the way it always ends when you fuck with the Black Alpha Network and you go off code. You get your shit regulated. So I want everybody to hear this babble, okay, this crispy babble. And the same thing that has always happened to Crispy happened to him this time. And it's the same thing that happened to him the next time if he ever deals with foundational Black Americans. It's going to be embarrassment, and it's going to be getting your ass thrown on the corner like it's trash day. Check this.
Black, and then we're talking about FBA. So we're making a delineation. Yet when we talk about white, you know what delineation we refuse to make?
Notice now, family. I want y'all to notice. He's talking about we're making a delineation. I tell people all the time, these folks are in our spaces stealing our terminologies. They are terminology thieves. They sit back, they watch what we say, and then the next thing you know, they start to go ahead and mimic it. They regurgitate everything we say. Do not think that these folks ain't sitting here listening, finding out what we come up with, and then the next thing you know, they start trying to use our talking points. That man would have never said delineate until we did. And y'all know goddamn well he ain't delineating from anything. All he's trying to do. Really, he's delineating? Hell to the no. Hell to the only thing he ever delineated from was being a man. Okay, he delineated from that a long motherfucking time ago. You feel me? Everything other than that is the real facts. Foundational Black Americans are out here really doing what we do, and everybody else is watching, they're observing. But guess what? That's been the case our whole life. Now, we're going to go ahead and skip all that goddamn babble, and I'm going to play this right here and let y'all know this is the best part right here. Shout out to my brother Sage right here. This is where we went ahead, and I just cut him off. As you were saying, my sister, we just got to the point we was like, dead all that shit. Listen, get your coon ass off the stage and listen to how this shit all turned out. So after I cut him off, after he babbled, he got that certified Black society work, and it went something like this.
They do what they do, we do what we do. We understand in the system of supremacy and anti-Blackness, these individuals are always going to put ahead of us. They're always going to be put forth. But what we do is we take care of what we have to take care of. It's not my job to stop the government from giving other people money. It's my job to make the government run me my money. And as long as we have that mentality, and we stay forward, and then we get things done.
It's not my job to stop anybody else from getting their money. It's my job to make them run me my money. Quote the Black Alpha.
Right. We're not going to stop the car to worry about what the Jews are getting. We're not going to stop the car to worry about what the Afghan refugees are getting. Ukrainians. No, well, you didn't say that we need to hold them accountable or we need to put them in check. It's not my job to put them in check. It's my job to get my check.
You would let me please finish saying what I was trying to say instead of you said they've always. But literally, I was trying to tell you, if you let me finish, you will understand what I was trying to say.
Well, I got to your point. I seen what you were getting to. I saw what you were getting to.
But that wasn't what I was getting to. And if you said it, and I said that's not what I was getting to.
You said we need to. No, you said that we need to hold them in check.
Even now, you can say, okay, brother, just finish. Even now,
I don't have to do anything but be Black Alpha and
That's why I say good.
I know. So don't tell me what I have to do.
That man thought he was gonna go back and forth with Black Alpha. Now y'all know goddamn well that wasn't gonna happen. Goddamn well. And you see he's trying to pull that same thing Dr. Kuba was pulling. The you being mean to me. Let me finish. You won't let me talk. Right. Last time I checked, when y'all look at that right there, it says host, Black Alpha. It says co-host, Queen Alpha, co-host, my brother Sage. Nowhere in that does it say crispy, coon, or counterfeit, okay? The 3 C's. His ass was trying to overtalk me, and that's just something that you ain't gonna do, especially not when I'm with my certified foundational Black American family. So right after that, we go ahead, we just put the pedal to the floor, and then we let him talk, and then now it's time to regulate. So all my regulators, we mount the fuck up, and then this is what happened.
All I got to do is
say you had to. Now it became an argument, but all I just asked you, I finished. That was split.
Okay, now you're finished. Because I just got you off the stage. Crispy, and I know who you are, by the way, homeboy.
Like we don't know who the fuck you
is. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I know who you are, Playboy. Get on out of here, man. Take that shit back to wherever the hell you came from.
This is the problem with these old niggas, and he admitted to being old. Excuse me. This is the problem with these old niggas, okay? Listen, Crispy. Why you trying to reinvent yourself? You think we don't know who the fuck you are? You think I don't know the dude who punched you in your face, bro, when you came to New York? You think I don't know that dude?
And your ass was crying to DJ Vlad.
Bro. Yes, y'all. Y'all type in him crying to DJ Vlad, and y'all type in the little incident that happened when he went up to New York. You can only run your mouth and babble for so long, and then the real ones is gonna see you.
Me, bro, like what's up, man? Why you acting like we don't know who you are?
Get your ass off stage, homie. Don't come back neither.
We trying to call out some Jews, brother. Let's talk about your cooning, brother. Who's the next speaker?
Hold on. Since we here, these motherfuckers don't know who we are, do they? Do they know who we are? First off, he coming here trying to say all these talking points, shit that we done already say. You see how low key he was trying to put us on game? You don't put us on game, homeboy. We put the world on game. Second, we know who you are. So all that flip flopping, all that twisting and undercover shit you doing ain't gonna work. And I know you listening right now. And I can cut you off. I can send your ass to the bottom. I can put you on listener. I can block you off the stage because this is Black Alpha Network, Queen Alpha, my whole FBA family tree in here. Shout out to everybody. And we can do whatever the fuck we want to do. So take your cooning, crispy ass and slip slide that motherfucking way. And don't come back on my stage no more. Home, boy. And go cry to DJ Vlad and you get popped in your goddamn mouth again. Now, with that said, I love everybody in this space, man. It's a happy Friday. I hope everybody's having a great day. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to chill out today and I'm going to roast some more goddamn tellers and we're just going to enjoy everything as it is. Who else wants to speak? Anybody wants to speak? Go ahead and let's get to it. Let's continue.
Hilarious.
G-check, checkmate, game over. That's how you handle it.
Literally.
So with that right there and with him running the fuck off the block, he did the crispy slide. Y'all seen that? He did the crispy slide. He did the crispy slide right the fuck off in the FBA space. Yeah, we making motherfuckers dance. We making off code the tellers tap dance.
Like we didn't know. Like everybody knows
we didn't know.
You are, sir.
You feel me? Trying to rebrand yourself. These motherfuckers think they gonna violate, do a circle and come back like we don't know who you are.
Right.
We don't just see through you. We seeing past you and beyond you. So you can't come around FBA on that game. You damn sure can't come around Certified Black Society, and you damn sure cannot come around the Black Alpha Network because we're gonna see that shit from a mile away. So yeah, he got his ass up out of there. He went ahead and did the crispy slide, and he gonna crispy slide his ass all the way back to where he came from, and that is irrelevance. So
but
as we broke down that, talk to me, sister.
That's what I'm saying. He was sent. You've been doing your shows for how long?
Oh, I've been getting it in. I've been getting it in for a hot minute now.
This is what I'm talking about. Like, it was not a mistake. It was all by design that he just so happened to stumble into your space. Like, all of a sudden, right? That he wasn't just there for a minute. And then he was sitting there getting fed what to say. Those pauses wasn't him thinking. It felt like he was waiting for what he was supposed to say next.
Ooh.
And
like he got the little buzz in his ear, right?
Yeah. And all he was doing was improvising until they told him what to say. Like, you were sent, brother, and we can see through that. Now what?
Mr. Zell said, you came around here, you got sent, and then we sent your ass packing without a suitcase, right? Literally.
But see, now he's getting ready to start coming back. How did you know exactly where to go in this huge metaverse? How did he know to come to your space? Nobody don't ask those questions with a lot of these people that's just popping up out of here. We gotta ask where the hell they come from and why. Now, unless he's been listening on the back end and waiting for his moment. But why is now your moment? So, and this is these real attacks. These are those subtle attacks that come and we kind of miss it just because, we ready to swing on them, which is dope because y'all handle that. Like, I was cracking up on the other line.
Thank you.
Like, seriously. And he couldn't handle, how y'all handled that. And I'm so glad you cut him short.
Yes.
But we need to take that as a mental note. Okay, they amping it up. They sending, they're bigger than normal. They're bigger than everyday folk to come after us now. You gotta be mindful of that. Because otherwise he wouldn't have been there. Where has he ever come to your space? Ever?
Never before.
Exactly. He did. It's nothing that would have directed him to where you are. So we just got to be mindful of that.
Big facts all the way across the board. I like the way you phrase that, sister. Cut them off, get to the point, find out who sent them, which ties in all the way to what you said in the beginning, where it's all about education, seeing through them, identifying ops, and then breaking them down like me and you've been breaking them down all damn night. But hey, that's the FBA way, ain't it, sister?
Literally, that's what we do.
Literally.
Period.
And after that roasting right there, family, y'all see the picture. Y'all seen what happened. He was running, doing the crispy slide. That was the crispy slide right there. And he did it fast as hell. But guess what? Foundational Black Americans are even faster. All right. With that said, sister, it's been good breaking it down with you.
It has been.
Man, we've been chopping it up, man. I knew this was going to be a good one. I knew it was going to come. You know, you could just feel it in the energy, especially when the whole chat's here. Everybody's in here. I told everybody I got the best chat. I stand by that. I represent it.
Yeah.
You know, but there's a lot of.
I've been in the chat. It is hilarious.
Yeah, they be on it, man. They be having me in here rolling. I'm telling you, I laugh for hours, man. But that's the family. Y'all know I say this every time on the Black Alpha Network for everybody who's listening and everybody in here right now. Y'all know I love y'all with a passion and that real love, not that fake love, not no LUV. You know what I'm saying? No, the real love, man. I love the whole FBA family tree. I love all of our people. I love being Black Alpha Network. I love networking with the whole family. I love Certified Black Society. I just love every goddamn thing. If it's got FBA, then y'all know I love it, man. And we always gonna rise. Period. Tell everybody where they can find you, any projects, anything you're doing. You know, I appreciate you for pulling up, my sister, and bringing that Be More energy.
Always. So if you're artists, hit me up at missgiselle.com. You can join my mailing list. But we are looking for artists because we have a compilation album that we're putting together for people from the movement. The album is called Sounds of the Movement, Reparations or Revolution. You heard it first here. So, and we're looking for jazz artists that are us. Hip hop, we got a lot of hip hop artists. So it's jazz, funk, pop, and R&B. I could take some more R&B, and we have some gospel artists. Every genre of our people we're looking for. Blues. I definitely want blues. Again, you can meet me at Miss Giselle. You can check me at missgiselle.com. I'm also Miss Giselle on all platforms. So hit me up. And and also if you're in Baltimore, the Black American Effect. And I'm thinking this for our brother Tariq, because I was already doing Baltimore Fashion Week, a fashion show. So instead, I changed it to a cultural expo. So on 11/11, we will be hosting that here. Those tickets will be going on sale in late September. So just hit me up, follow my mailing list, and peace, love, and reparations.
Peace, love, and reparations, my sister. You know, it's crazy. You know, we out here doing the work. I was telling my brother the other day, I said, you know, it's summertime. You know, it's our generation. It's our time, and we out here doing the work. We are all participating in something that literally 1% of the race ever gets to do, and that's Black empowerment to a good level. So, you know, that's something to think about when you're getting up eating breakfast in the morning, and it's something to say with your chest and be very proud of. So I'm proud of you and everything that you're doing, sister. I definitely am.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know, it's always love from the Black Alpha Network. So this certified salute goes to you. This certified salute goes to the whole family. And this certified salute right here just goes because we roasted motherfuckers for 3 hours and we put it down certified.
Hell yeah. Thank you for you and your wife, because your wife always hold it down. And like, I know that you guys, if it wasn't for the team, this is how it make things pop. So big ups to you. Big ups to B-Zilla for his commentary, which was also
appreciate you, brother.
Yes, and everybody in the chat. There was some funny chats that was popping up on the screen, so I gotta hold my face. Like I gotta remember I'm on the camera, so I gotta drop my face sometimes off the camera.
It's all right. Hey, we was good. Hey, compared to them Umar transformations, man, we know we out here stunting on them.
Like a mug.
Yes, indeed. All right, sister, man.
Baltimore style. Yes. All right. Peace, love, and reparations, everybody.
Stay safe, sister.
All right.
All right, y'all. It's been good. Y'all know it's been lively. Y'all know I love breaking it down with y'all, man. Black Alpha Network. Y'all make sure y'all subscribe. I want to tell everybody that I appreciate you. We growing, we building, we working, we shining, we grinding. I appreciate all my day ones, all my new riders. If you just get familiar with the Black Alpha Network, I appreciate you. If you've been familiar with the Black Alpha Network, I appreciate you, and everybody in the future. You know, we got a lot against us, but we do it with style. All of my certified sisters and certified brothers. I believe that the Black Alpha Network, we're one place where anybody can come in, brothers and sisters, and we stand united. There's so many people out there trying to divide us and trying to put wedges between us. I think the reason why the chat is so good and why we have so much good energy is because this is one of the places, as well as others, but something that I definitely hang my hat on is that we're very unified. I don't care if you're from the East, the West, the North, the South, or whatever. I don't care what accent you have. If it's foundational Black American and it's lineage, y'all know we represent it to the fullest. We gonna clown, we gonna roast, we gonna run some people off the block. Our voice gonna go high and it's gonna go low. But at the end of the day, it's going to be certified all the way across the board. So I appreciate everybody who has subscribed, everybody who supports the Cash App. Y'all know I mean that forever. And I know every last one of you guys. So I appreciate that to the T. I love being a foundational Black American. I love my foundational Black American family tree. And in the words of Huey Newton, we are one tonight. Let us be one in the future. And that's power to all of our people. So y'all follow me wherever. Whenever you see that Black Alpha Network, you're going to definitely see me. And wherever you see me, you're going to see the family tree, because our family tree cannot be, I ain't gonna say fuck with, not be, let me not cuss. I'm trying to work on my cussing. It cannot be messed with at all. How about that? All right, y'all stay good, y'all stay safe, y'all stay vigilant. Black is beautiful, and beautiful is always Black. One love.
Kid, what y'all think? If you whatever the fuck you think you are, and until we own some shit, I'ma call it like it is. How you gonna be a man and we starving? Go ahead. You know? And you can walk by 5 different houses, ain't a man in either one of them motherfuckers. How we gonna be a man? How we gonna be African Americans? And we out here dying. We thugs and we niggas until we set this shit right. Trust me when I tell you that.